No, there ain't no stopping us. Fly without boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I'll be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
I'm moving too far. Get to glass. You're looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I'd be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get to glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't. Shining like it's neon. Rock like kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Yeah, shoot, shoot. Yeah, shoot, shoot. Yeah, shooting, shooting. Yeah, shooting, shot. Shooting stars, shooting stars, shooting stars, shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away? Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away?
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Tottenham Away, the best place to be in town if you're a Spurs fan, and you know. Great to have you with us. Please like, subscribe, follow the channel, all that good stuff. We're back again, and this week, right, we are going to try and have some fun with this and just banter ourselves, because if we have another serious rendition of Levy out, Enoch out, Ange this, Ange that, I actually think I'm just going to walk off, because there's no point. There's just no point. Famous last words. Give it 10 minutes and we'll be full-blown Levy out. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being with us. Put your comments up and we'll put as many as we can on the screen. Spurs have got a new kit coming out. Just thought I'd share it with you. There's Levy with the End the Trophy Hunting Now t-shirts. Make sure you buy yours from the club shop. There you go. Do you know what? I'm going to start off this week by asking you a simple question, guys. I hope you're well. You can say hello as well when I come around to all of you. Iggy, how do you feel just about being a Spurs fan and the club in general? Just right. Like, the reason I ask this is I actually think now I'm becoming numb and immune.
Nice and light.
Yeah, well, do you know why? Because I'm listening to quite a few YouTube channels and podcasts, and what I'm hearing a little bit more of is this club's dead to me, or I just can't be bothered, or write off the season. Or some I'm excited. I can't wait. This is part of the process. It's a journey. I think everyone's feeling different things at the moment. I was just wondering because the loss has happened, international break. We wait until the next game, North London derby. Everyone's going to be, oh my God, this is a big game, and the build up to that will happen. But how do you feel in general? What's your kind of emotions with it all at the moment?
Well, first of all, big up to you guys in the chat. Big up to you guys in the panel. Been a few weeks since I was last on, so it's good to be back to seeing you guys and obviously seeing everyone's comments. That's above all else. In regards to the team, I can't say I feel the same. Look, for me personally, and I've said it off air as well with you guys. Newcastle was the first game I've actually seen from beginning to. I've been away, and obviously I've been catching up with the games whilst I've been abroad. But actually sitting there watching live the Newcastle game was my first one. And guys, I wasn't even mad. I'm not even mad about it. I wasn't even mad about the result. You know, people will say we played better than them. At the end of the day, you can play well, you can play better than the opposition, but at the end of the day, if you don't kill your opponents off when you're on top, that's half the battle, isn't it? But I will go beyond that and say, how can I expect anything different when we've not made moves? We've not made, and we're not done anything to make me think that we're going to do anything different this season during the summer. So I didn't see anything happening player wise coming in, personnel changes. We've made one signing in Solanke that actually has an effect in the first 11, but anything outside of that was purely just squad or players in the perspective, you know, in that will come good in future. But here and ready now, ones that actually at least has done it in the Premier League is Solanke. You can say he scored goals and stuff, so that has an effect in the first team. So I didn't see how we've been talking about number 6 for how long. We've been talking about a left back, perhaps a substitute or someone to rotate with Udogie, who's been criticised a lot in himself with his performances. We're talking about and we got rid of Emerson, but who's the substitute to Porro? Spence, is he ready now to play? Is he the man that covers both right back and left back? Because he played at left back during the preseason as well. So I didn't see enough happening from last season to this season, player wise. How and we've doubled the amount of games going into the next season. So for me personally, when that hasn't done, it's like me catering for a wedding that's coming up. We're expecting 300 guests. I'll give you a shopping list. One of you guys in the panel, I'll give you a shopping list of all the ingredients that I need in the kitchen. I need a whole load of vegetables. Yeah, and you come back with a tomato and a couple of carrots and a cucumber. And I'm thinking, what we doing here? So the interpreters change season by season. I can give it to Stoll. Stoll gets fired. I'll get Matt. Matt brings me 3 carrots and 2 lemons. And I'm thinking it's the same sort of thing and repetition. So me, as an employee of Tottenham Hotspur, can go 2 ways. One, I'll fuck it off and I'll leave. Say, you know what, this club is just ridiculous. Or I carry on, take my wages, act like an employee, act on what's been served, which is completely ambitionless and directionless, and till I get sacked and say no one wants me, I'll go elsewhere. That's where we're at. If you look at it from an employee point of view at Tottenham Hotspur, even as a player, well, that's where we're at. The ones that have enough and thinking, no, I want ambition, I want to win stuff, I want to go. They move on and go on to win stuff. Then there's the others that just say, you know what, I'm fine. This is fine for me. I'll get paid, do a job. I'm not asked to do any more or less. And I carry on with that. And that's where I'm at. That's why I don't even get mad about it anymore, because we try still. I mean, guys in the chat will know, and because we've tried. We tried to protest. We've gone to different venues where we've let ourselves know that we're not happy with it with what's happening at Spurs by now. But when you look at it, and on top of everything, you have to be insulted as well for doing something that you feel that's right, whether people agree with it or not. As soon as you go against the majority, you get pelted at. And so I'm now today to answer your question. So I've gone really round the houses, but to answer your question, I'm chilled. I'm so chilled about everything because there's not there's what how can I expect anything different when everything that we're doing is exactly the same year in year out?
So basically, you're chill because you expect nothing.
No, I'm chilled because I know exactly what I'm expecting.
Which is nothing.
It's going to be the same old, same old. There's nothing different's going to happen at this.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm hearing people. Like, listen, I've seen you going to war on X, Twitter, whatever it's called. I've seen you go to war with everyone.
Friendly
now.
debate. Friendly debate.
Yeah, whatever. Friendly debate. All right, let's call it friendly debate for the argument. I've seen you there having a lot of friendly debates with people that completely disagree with what's happening. And I'm reading the comments, and I'm reading, give it time. We played really well. We was unlucky not to win. If we'd been a bit deadly in front of goal, we could have won that game. Well, yeah, that's the reality of it. If we had taken those chances, we'd win the game. But isn't that football in general? If you play better, take your chances to win the game. If you play better, you don't take your chances. They go the other end to score a goal. Isn't that football in general? If you're on top of people, you got to put them to bed. We don't have the killers up front. We're not characteristic wise. I'm not saying the players that we have are not good, and I don't think that the players are not trying. I do think they are giving. In my opinion, I see players that they're trying, but the bottom line is with the players, the characteristics that we wish to play with, they're not suitable for it. And secondly, their best doesn't mean it's what's required. We require a lot more than the best that they're giving us, and that's the reality of it. If this is the route that we wish to go, and we can think whatever we want here in the panel, but at the end of the day, the club as they're not interested in trophies. They're interested in making top four of the season because that's what the money generates through the Champions League, and that's the ultimate ambition is to make that top four. Nothing more, nothing less. In regards to winning trophies, you can forget about it. But we're nowhere near. You look at the other teams around us. I've watched Brighton the other day. I watched Arsenal. I watched the Arsenal-Brighton game. Two good, really good teams there. Regardless of what we can say and take the piss out of Arsenal we want, they're good teams. Brighton's a good team. I saw United. All right. United, Liverpool. That you want to talk to me about killers? That's killers up front.
So we're gonna come on to them. We're gonna come on to them in the show. Let me.
When I think of all what I'm trying to say, so when I'm thinking of all of this stuff, and then I look at our situation, I'm thinking, what am I mad? What am I going to get mad for?
No, I get it. Listen, I get it.
What to get mad about?
I get it. Look.
So just to summarise, you prefer carrots or tomatoes? Because I couldn't.
Lemons, I think it was.
Lemons.
At least a bag of lemons, or at least a bag of tomato, not some one.
Lemons, yeah, some nice.
And we will have killers at Tottenham Hotspur at some point. Apparently, they're on the list for the stadium next year.
Maybe who knows? Maybe Oasis or no Aces. Who knows?
No Oasis.
Before I go to the most positive person of the team, Matt. Right, I just want to quickly say to this person, echo chamber, same old. Number one. You choose to be here. No one says you have to be here. And number two, speak to Chris Cowlin, everyone on Last Word on the Spurs, Sean Butler, Mitch Fretton, Ben Bowden, any of these individuals, Jay Rated, Deji, and say to them to come on here, debate, and then maybe it won't be like that because I've asked them all.
And maybe he'll get the show that he wants. Maybe he'll get the show that he wants.
And we will give you the show you want. So help me to help you. Speak to them. Let them know. And then we can do it. And there we go. Matt.
Fair response.
No, yeah, I've got a better response than that, Stel. Don't make your problems my problems. That's what you should say to them.
No, but I would debate them all. I'd gladly debate any of these individuals. But it's their choice not to do it, right?
The thing is, Mads, they come here and that's an echo chamber here. You go to the opposition.
Yeah, let's move on from these people. We've said it a million times.
I know we say it every week, but we have to keep beating the drum. You see, if we stop beating the drum, then it's as if
there's no band.
Yeah, and we are the main band. We are the main band. Matt, you are the champion of positive energy. You are the happiest of happy. Okay, I'm overdoing it here. How do you feel about it all, Matt? Like, where are you at? Because you are a little bit different to what I would say most of us kind of feel like, which is good because that means we're not an echo chamber. But where are you at with it all? Are you still patient with it? Are you still comfortable? Do you think it's the process?
Yeah, I'm still. I haven't given up on Ange. Listen, I was absolutely gutted the result. I could not believe that sucker punch in the second half. I thought up to the 18-yard box, we were the better team, but we huffed and we puffed and we piddled about, and we just didn't have the clinical players, and that is on Ange. And as much as I like Ange, you've got to be objective in your appraisal. And I think when you sign players that have a low conversion rate, which is Timo Werner and Brennan Johnson, who I did think definitely made an impact when he came on in the second half. So you're looking at, if the chances drop, who do you want those chances to drop to? Barring Son, is pretty much a lottery. Odobert at the moment doesn't look clinical. Obviously, I've just mentioned Werner, he's not clinical. Brennan Johnson looks like he needs 4 chances to convert 1. So Kulusevski, not clinical in the final third. So you're looking around the picture, you're thinking, how many matches are we going to have where we have 66% of the possession, 20 shots, and have a deflected own goal as the only thing that we're taking out the game? So that part is on Ange. You could argue that Levy hasn't given him the money to get the player that he wants. I'm not sure, but I question why you would sign Timo Werner twice. That loan signing could have been far better used on other wide forwards that can certainly come on and make a difference. So to prove this is not an echo chamber, I'm actually still Angeing. I know that's probably when Maz and 1 or 2 others come on, they're going to say maybe something contrary. But for me, we'll play worse than that and win a football match this season. So I would like to think if Dominic Solanke starts to get some football, we'll look a little bit better as an attacking 3.
But if you're just summarising maybe 1 or 2 sentences at how you feel as a Spurs fan now, what would you say, Matt?
I think, barring Ian, I think I'm the kind of oldest. I've been following Spurs since 1980, so we haven't won many trophies in my lifetime, sadly. So I'm kind of a little bit used to it. I'd like us to be a little bit more decisive in the transfer market. I'd like us. I'm confused with some of Ange's sentences, which is he's happy with the transfer window when everybody knew Adoji's come off a 3-month, 4-month surgery layoff. He's playing pre-season matches now. A top 6 club would have at least 2 frontline left backs in your squad. It shows you how desperate things are that Ben Davies, Adoji's not fit. He's nowhere near fit, but he's having to play because we don't have a suitable replacement.
But Matt, how do you feel? How do you feel about being a Spurs fan, though? Like,
the same. Honestly, I'm not. It's neither a feast or famine. For me, it's the same.
Same.
I think a little bit what Iggy's saying. I'm kind of used to it. Really, I'd like us to be a little bit more consistent. But yeah, I'm not Ange.
So I was laughing at the comment from the Newcastle fan. That was hilarious.
I know, St James's Park.
You're welcome, Jake. You're welcome.
Do you know what? I went on 2 Newcastle podcasts last week, and I told them all we're going to get a draw up there because actually we're quite dominant in attack, but I'm concerned about our defence. And I literally said to them, but if Van der Ven's injured, there's rumours, then I fear it. And that's exactly what happened. You couldn't write it. And but they were all, regardless, they all said we're going to beat you 2-1, 3-1. All of them. None of them even thought they'd get a draw. They all thought they'd. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Ian, you're quite a strong Levy outer, but you're quite.
This is still.
You're quite calm with it. You're quite calm.
This isn't an echo chamber, is it? You wouldn't call this an echo chamber, would you?
I don't.
What questions would you like to ask me?
Well, I just want to gauge where everyone's at before we get into it all. Like, how do you feel as a Spurs fan?
Hang on. I've got another special guest. Anybody want to ask him some questions?
Where'd you get that?
Put the Levy one up on Brian. When Brian Daigle first brought me in on the very first day. As the screen came up, I had the picture of Levy there, and he just cracked. But there we go. You've got to try and have a bit of fun, haven't you, today? It's not fun being a Spurs fan these days, so we're smiling. What do I think of yesterday?
No, I want to know how you feel as a Spurs fan. We'll get into it. Because I'm seeing different emotions and different feelings across social media and on YouTube channels. I don't actually know where any Spurs fans actually are. It's like there's a mixed bag of emotions.
I'm currently reading. In fact, I was just come back from a holiday. I read a terrific book that was written on Tottenham in the 70s. And I'm now reading an autobiography that Jimmy Greaves wrote with the ghostwriter in 1962, talking about his career up to then. And I've just got to the last 50 pages, which I'll finish next couple of days. And I just think of, as a Spurs fan, my first game was 65, Gilzine 3, Greaves 2, beat Blackburn 5-2 on Good Friday. And I've seen some, fantastic performances. I've had some great nights out. I was watching the Gaza documentary the other day that was on Sky a few weeks ago. And I just think I'm fortunate that I've had days like that because a lot of Spurs fans haven't had that at all. I think the club today is soulless. And I feel that ENIC have cheated me as a passionate Spurs fan. And I've been going to every home game since 69, every away game since 72, and in Europe since 74. And I feel cheated as a Spurs fan because with any business, the mentality and the culture of any business starts at the top. It's not just Levy, it's Lewis as well. Lewis is a senior shareholder. Levy takes the flak because he's here and Lewis is in the Bahamas and Levy's running it on a day-to-day basis. You look at a lot of the big deal, nothing gets signed off without Lewis. All the big deals he has to approve. So Levy probably gets a lot of flack. That is not necessarily his fault. I just think, and you know what? I've had people on Twitter say to me, don't live in the past. Football's changed. It's all about money. It's not about, for me, life's about memories and football's about memories. And since ENIC came in, you look at Arsenal, Chelsea, City, United and Liverpool, their fans are having memories. Football has changed. It is all about big business now. But these other clubs are having big memories. Portsmouth and Wigan have had big memories. And why can't we? We are not an elite club. An elite club are clubs that win trophies regularly. We're a big club. We went to Wembley, Champions League, first game against Monaco, 86,000. There aren't that many clubs that, that on a Wednesday night, first game of the group stage would get 85,000. This is a big club. It sells out 61,000 every match. Fans are fantastic. Away games go-to loyalty points all the time. The away fans are brilliant. I think, I don't know, you know, I think Adrian was saying yesterday, they worked out there's 34 million Spurs fans worldwide. It's just a massive club. It's a massive club.
Delusion's big.
we have owners who have no feel, no empathy. You know, we've had the new ground 5 years. There's no museum. There are no statues. Nothing. Yeah. You know, and I honestly feel cheated. We desperately need new owners to come in. You know, it's all I want from my club is to be in the game. There's never any guarantee of trophies. That, you know, that would be arrogance, and I'm certainly not that, and certainly don't expect that. You know, I was nearly 4 when we won the league last time. So you know, just once before they put me 6 foot under, I'd love to see one of our future captains lift the Premier League trophy just once. That would do me. I'd be very happy. You know, so we nearly had a miracle with Poch, didn't we? Nearly. It would have been a miracle because I got no backing. You know, and that's how I feel as a Spurs fan today. Just they've taken the guts out of the club.
I think a lot of people in the comments actually were agreeing with a lot of you saying there, Ian. Yeah. So Iggy's, I feel nothing. Matt is, no, I'm still positive with Ange. I think, you know, can go somewhere. You feel cheated, Maz, and try not to swear too much.
Yeah, I don't know if I can really put it better than what Ian just said. Yeah. Really, I feel the same as Ian. I feel absolutely cheated. My family, you know, my dad and my grandfather and my uncles, and have been going since the 60s. Everyone in my family are Spurs fans. My dad took me to Spurs ever since I was 4 or 5 years old. Season tickets. My uncle's had a box there for God knows how long. You know, my whole family's Tottenham Hotspur. And when I was young, all I can think about in reference to what Ian was saying is, you know, you get brought up on the history of Tottenham and the culture of Tottenham Hotspur and our philosophy, and probably more so back when I was young, that gets ingrained into you because it was, you know, it's a tribal sport, right? And you know, when you become a supporter, you know, you get ingrained with how you should think as a Tottenham fan. And when I see people like Ian speak, and even like the older fans speak, you can see some of that really coming through where they get really defensive about Spurs. And I think that's a great thing, to get defensive about your club. And you know, regardless of what's actually happening, you still defend them no matter what. But yeah, I echo what Ian said. I feel cheated. I feel robbed of the pleasure and privileges that my family's had, and I haven't, you know, seen much of since I was young. You know, I was barely old enough to remember like people like Hoddle and Gazza and stuff like that. So yeah, I can't really add more than what Ian said, to be honest with you.
It's just so sad, man, to see that, like the old memories here. The old memories.
It's a save this video.
Well, I really value our history. I always say, you know, I get a bit philosophical sometimes when I speak on these shows about, you know, you can't just dispense with your history. You have to. That is what tells you how to behave in your future. You look back at history and you think, right, this is what I'm going to do in the future, and I don't think you can dispense that. And the fact that the club lacks such ambition and such disrespect to the people that effectively built this club and made it to what it is, the fact that we haven't got a trophy room full of trophies, the fact that we don't honour our greatest players and our greatest managers in the way that we should, I think is the ultimate disrespect, not only to those people that built the club, but to the older fans. The fans is a disrespect to, and
senior members,
yeah, absolutely. And what really upsets me is that the let's call them the modern fans now that are just quite happy to accept the situation we're in.
Yeah,
they don't know any different, man. They don't.
But it's just I guess I'm just brought up differently. I don't think it's right to disrespect.
But Iggy, they can
the
see
people that
different
built
at
this
other
club.
clubs, though, right? They can see different at other clubs how it's done, like Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, even Brighton.
Dale, when you go to Spurs now, you go to the stadium. I've been to the stadium. I haven't gone in a little while now, but there's a reason for that, because what I sense when I'm at the ground, and you know what, mate, I miss going. I do miss going to the stadium. I miss watching my team live. But you know what? The biggest thing that I sense around me, the other than we talk about delusion and stuff like that, there's just an acceptance of this is how it is, mate. If you don't like it, go and support another team. That's what we get told, man. If you don't like it, go and support another team.
Hold on 1 minute, 1 minute.
And the biggest thing, just to close off, what Ian said, is so tough to hear, because we cannot replace, like, we love the old memories, but we can't seem to add or replace the old memories with the new memories. We can't. But this is why when you go to the stadium, you hear Chaz and Dave. This is why when you go to, you see those goals all the time, Ricky Villa's goals, and 81. You see Gascoigne, and you see we keep seeing them. And you know what? And I think I've said this once before. I've been to many of those, those guest nights. You know, when they have Ricky Villa and they have Hoddle.
Oh, the Legends nights.
The Legend nights. Yeah, I've been to many of those, and you know what? Each one of them, I always take away something that they always say, and I heard Glenn Hoddle say it last. It's such a shame that, I mean, as much as we love coming on here and telling us our story to you guys, we can't. We as legends of the club would like to see other stories, new stories, so we can sit here and say we've added on to those legendary seasons, and we don't have that. And
I just want to take just 10 seconds just to add as well to that, and it's in reference to Ange as well. I think what made someone like Poch special to Spurs fans, for me anyway, and even someone like Harry Redknapp, is they recognised the past. Harry Redknapp did, right? Because he recognised the past, right? And Poch did, because he surrounded himself with people like Ozzy Ardiles and some of the legends. And he took time to speak to the legends. Because when I used to go to Spurs and I was in the box, and the legends used to, a lot of them get gigs there, right? And they come and speak to you and stuff like that. And they all had nothing but amazing things to say about Pochettino and how he always took time to talk to them and understand the history of Tottenham Hotspur. That is what we're missing from a manager. But I know we're going to come on to it. But anyway, that's what we're missing.
Lee, you've heard all the boys talking, how they feel on that. Like, you've been away, you've had a break, refreshing time, clear your head, you're back. How do you feel about it? Where are you at as a Spurs fan right now?
I don't feel too dissimilar to the guys in terms of what we've been given, what we're used to, and what's coming around now. But I'll go in a slightly different direction with this. Up until, I don't know, 18 months ago, and don't get me wrong, it doesn't matter if there's a Spurs match on, I'm doing whatever I can to, watch it, no matter what the outcome's going to be or what we think we're going through at the moment, all this kind of stuff. I still want to sit down and watch it. But I have a very different take now on whether I get excited about matches. That's the thing. Up until sort of, the Chelsea game where we started dropping off last season, I'd still get excited for matches. I still, go into it thinking, we can get a win here, blah, 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 etc., etc. But my mindset has completely changed now. Every time we've got a match coming up, all I keep thinking about is, what's gonna go wrong now? Can we even beat these guys?
So true.
And it's in the matches as well. It's like my first thought when I rushed home on yesterday to try and get the match, coming back off a 9-hour flight, flying back through the traffic, and all I kept sort of thinking in my head It's like I'm trying to get home. I want to watch this match, but is it going to be another drubbing? Are we going to get another, rollover, drive all that way to Newcastle and then, get our asses rolled? But that's the problem. I can't get excited thinking, yeah, I'm just going to sit down and watch this match and hope it happens. All of the negativity is going through my head. Like, who's going to make a mistake today? Are we going to do the same tactics? Is it going to be another issue? How are we going to change? How are we going to get a win? That's the kind of stuff that's going through my head now. And it's and again, in every match so far, I mean, it's only 3, and luckily enough, I've been in a time zone where all the matches have been on quite early, so it's been easy enough to watch them. But I'm sitting here, and all that's going through my head every match is, it's going to happen again. The same things are happening. It's going to happen again. I'm reading it. I know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time until it does. And just trying to work out what tactics are going on and the way that we line up and the way I don't. I'm so confused. I just don't get any of it. I watch this weekend. I actually got more excited about watching or looking to see how West Ham got on against Man City, given all of the signings that they've brought in. I'm thinking I'm more excited to see how West Ham's going to get on this week, just to see if they can actually give Man City a good game with all their signings and the new people that got coming in and stuff like that. I've almost gone numb. I still watch the games. Listen, I still watch the games. I just felt some of the body language of some of the players over the last 3 matches of the beginning of this season. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't seem like they're in it. If I'm honest, 3 matches in, and some of them just seem like they haven't got any will. I won't say all of them because I don't think that's the case, but I think their demeanour is a bit weird. I'm weird. Yeah,
They feed off the energy that we give them as well. So it's not like, but it's a job for them at the end of the day. Whether we like it or not, man, for these players, it's a job.
I also think, though, this is what happens when you have a pre-season without the team. This is partly what happens when you have a pre-season without. And I was having this conversation with Cheyenne, original Tottenham away OG, and he was saying it to me. I said, "Yeah, do you know what, Cheyenne? You're spot on. We didn't have a pre-season.
Well,
we had all these pre-season. We had all these kids, and none of them are playing."
Yeah, and that whole pre-season was just the biggest waste of time ever. I mean, he basically played 80% of the players that played in that pre-season aren't playing now.
Exactly.
And you think, what's the point? What does Ange gain from that? What does he see? What does he learn from seeing kids play? That he's either going to sell or loan off. But anyway,
but Naz, listen, we were saying this all summer, right? Let's look at it. All of the feedback coming back from the summer, right, and all of these matches put together and players. How many of them, of these youngsters, are still here?
3 more. Gray and
Lee, did we not have this conversation for like 3
we had
months
this conversation? Yeah, we did.
I kept saying this was going to happen.
I'm not understanding.
Fans get drawn in way too easily. I think fans just at this club get really. And it's not just us. I've noticed Arsenal fans are just as weird. It's a North London thing. Well, they're from South London, but we just get drawn in by the most. We see one little thing and we think, Project Youth. Generational. This is what the plan is. And then it doesn't pan out that way because we haven't really sat back and thought about it. We didn't think, well, hold on. He's going to drop Maddison, Bentancur, Van der Ven. He's going to drop all these players so Ashley Phillips can play and that Archie Gray can play in midfield and Bergvall can play in the 10. What planet are we on here?
Phillips is gone. Right? He's gone out on loan, isn't he?
They've all gone.
Yeah, all of them.
Except for Divine.
Divine. And the other 2,
Listen, those friendlies are like a shop window, man.
The first team.
It's a shop window. They put them all on a shop window in the hope that some of them can move on. They loan them out. It's a massive shop window. That's why you shouldn't pay any attention to those friendlies. Don't put any weight on it whatsoever. Friendlies in the summer these days, especially even more so, they don't count for shit if the players that it's when the season starts. those are the players that you got. And if you haven't played any preseason with the players that you ended up starting the league with, it's pointless watching them, which is why I don't watch them, because there's nothing to take home. There's nothing to take away from those preseason friendlies. Nothing at all. So you're not missing anything if you don't watch them. Really and truly. And
sorry.
No,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Can I answer? There are some absolutely fabulous comments coming through. Flying Solo asked, if you were a head of a company and you've won one trophy in 25 years, would you not do the right thing and accept its failure and resign? He doesn't care. That's the problem.
Yeah.
He's only interested in the profit. As far as Enoch is concerned, he's done a great job for him. They laid out 220 grand 220 million on shares, and they will 220 million on shares, and they'll take away how many billion? Whatever it is,
trophies.
Whatever it is, it's a massive profit.
Yeah.
But there's no love of the club. And so for me, it's like no expectation, no disappointment on the micro side. The macro side is much bigger because that's to do with the club. The micro side, talking about Ange, he's got no chance. He's set up to fail like every other manager.
But see, right. So now, right. So this is
he's an employee. He's an employee.
Yeah, but this is where we have all these arguments every week, every channel, every page on Twitter and Facebook, right? And this is where people like Matt take a slightly different view and whatnot. So we can say he's set up to fail. We can say that every manager's set up to fail, but at the same time, he's accepting it. He's saying, "I've been backed." These things take time, right? But I'm saying though, but then he's facilitating it, and then we've got fans that they don't do anything about it. It's almost like you guys said when I asked you, how'd you feel? People we've just accepted it. It's just okay. This is the biggest issue. There's just no accountability at the club, zero. That loss yesterday. Can I tell you something? That loss yesterday. Do you know? After all the shows yesterday, I slept on it. I woke up this morning and I go on Twitter and I go on Facebook and I'm thinking of what should I put on the show today. And I'm thinking, this is how weird we are, right? This, when we've got 9 men, is acceptable against Chelsea, right? With 9 men playing like this, we clap them off the pitch because they did this. But yesterday, we're all losing our minds.
Right, Stel, before we go onto the game and Ange, right? I just look. It's the 2nd of September, right? And last year, very early on, right? Yeah. I said that I believe that I was probably the first to say I don't think Ange is knows what he's doing based off his contradictions, and I know what we know what Tottenham are like in the 24 years. I'm not seeing anything different in the way that Tottenham are behaving, the way the manager's behaving, the communications, everything's the same. Therefore, this is what I predict is going to happen. I was, if not one of the first to say it publicly. And I also said as well is everyone's expecting that this transfer window in the summer, like we were expecting the January that's just gone, was going to be great, and it ended up in big disappointment, right? And on top of that, you have the manager increasingly since January of when everything started going bad. It was before that, wasn't it? But just call it January, right? Contradicted himself and doing things that you wouldn't expect any experienced manager to do. So we have a really poor summer in terms of signings. We re-signed Turbo Wiener, right? And then we have a tour that basically just consists of our second string players and youth. And that's all we have, right? A lot of the first teamers come back late, obviously because of the Euros and stuff, but we didn't have that many anyway that went to the Euros, right? The tactics haven't changed. He's increasingly contradicting himself. He's not come up with anything new. So at what point do we say, fuck, the season's done? And at what point do the fans that still have faith in Ange put their hands up and say, you're right, he's actually doing the same things. He hasn't signed the quality of players that we're after. His tactics haven't evolved, right? His backroom appointments are shocking.
Fans are saying it's too early.
Right?
It's too early to say that.
Maz, can I come back to you on one or two of those points?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Okay. I can't stand the high line. I think it's kamikaze. I don't like two at the back and pushing the fullbacks inverted. I said this all season. I went to virtually all the games. It was horrendous watching us get ripped apart at Brighton, Newcastle, Liverpool, Fulham. I mean, you go there and they're overloading Robinson and the other chap down the left-hand side, and there's no one there. Porro's scratching to get back because we've been caught in possession further up. In terms of changing, he's only inverting one of them now. If you watch the first three games, Porro is much more further forward than Udogie. If you get a chance, if you've got any of the games on tape, run through them, then come back and tell me if you think
I have.
The
they're still inverting.
Maz, the other thing also is that they brought in Nick Montgomery. Everybody was knocking Jedinak because we were conceding goals from set pieces left, right and centre. And the last four games of last season, starting with Liverpool at Anfield, it's been much, much better. I don't think we've actually conceded a goal from a corner in seven set pieces. We are in 7 league games. And
we are better.
There was a move. The ball was played in, laid back to the edge of the box. There was a shot. We didn't try anything like that last season. So you can see there's new guy in, fresh ideas. It is improving. And my personal position, I just want to finish off by saying two things. Firstly, I think we will finish between 5th and 8th, but I think we've got a really good shout, having seen what other clubs are in the Europa League. I think we're one of the 5 or 6 favourites that could do something, and we could definitely go deep. But I just want to put this to everybody, because everybody's feeling a little bit pretty low at the moment, particularly after a defeat that shouldn't have been a defeat. We've played 3 games. I think we've had 60 shots on goal, something ridiculous. Mm-hmm. We're not getting battered like we were away from home. We're dominating games, but unfortunately we haven't had the quality up front. With Leicester, Solanke, that was his first game for a month. Haven't played at all. And yesterday we're in the game without a centre forward and without our best centre back. And unfortunately, Romero, who I think is a fabulous centre back, happened to make 2 big ricks and he's given away 2 goals. But we should have had 9 points. We should be sitting on 9 points with City and Liverpool from those first 3 games. And yes, Leicester and Everton are 2 of the poorest 5 teams. But we went to Newcastle and they are no mugs. They were missing the 2 centre-backs. They had Tonali, they had Guimaraes, they had Longstaff, they had their midfield. The front 3, you would swap for our front 3. You bring in their front 3 every time. A fairly strong team. So I'm a bit conflicted. I'm very low because we lost. We're sitting 10th in the table, but we should have won all 3 games.
Ian, I disagree respectfully. The fullbacks are still inverting. I have watched the games carefully, and I actually sent a screenshot that I never took it, but I saw it of a game whereby the position of the players was still inverting up. Sure, there might maybe in those 3 games that we've seen might be slightly different in how far up the pitch they've gone. But to me, the tactics are effectively the same. But I think it's a moot point. I think it's a minor point, right? In terms of us coming away with 9 points, sure, but we didn't actually create any clear-cut chances in that Newcastle game. And that in itself is quite shocking, right? And the fact that they had 2 and they scored both of theirs and we had 0, right? And
we had
relied
20
on them
shots. In fact, I'll tell you now, right? So,
well, you can bring up the stats to confirm what
yeah,
I'm
let's
saying,
bring up the full-time stats. So,
yeah,
full-time stats was we had more possession, more shots, more on target, more passes. They had more clear-cut chances. Also,
the other 8 shots were blocked, by the way.
Yeah, we had a lot of touches in their box compared to them. But here's the kicker: their XG, expected big chances for goals, was more than Tottenham's, even though we had more dominance, more possession, more shots on more shots.
Yeah. So my view, whilst we had a lot of the possession, and we did this last year, the possession is almost for possession's sake as opposed to us being ruthless and clinical. And yes, in that Newcastle game, we did take more shots from outside the box than usual, but we also always attack in the same way. We're really narrow. We don't use the flanks as much as what we should do, and we almost dribble the ball into the opposition box, hoping to do a little cut back down the wing so we can cross it low across the box and tap it in. And you see that in the way they train. That's all they train, is that, low ball across the 6 yard.
Get the ball to the back post for a tap in or a finish, or
right.
I've come up with a name for it, Maz. I've come up with a name for it. It's called the crescent moon, right? And what it is, we seem to make a crescent across the front of the opposing half, right? So your wingers are out here, and then everyone else is just sort of in this little semicircle in front of the box. No target man in there. But then what you have like the 30-day cycle of Romero bringing the ball out from the back, which takes about 30 days. By the time the Romero's actually got it forward to someone, the other team are just set up so well, and we barely move. We're so static. All we end up doing is passing it around that line, that crescent line, and then we don't put any. The couple of times we've changed, and actually someone like, I don't know, Maddison has put a cross the box ball in from the edge of the box, which I thought was the way that Ange ball worked. Yeah, we never do it. We get Porro scoring. We get, chances. Other than that, it's exactly as you say. We literally try and play it around until we get to the point where we can cross it into the 6 yard box. But they're so well defended, it's almost impossible to walk the ball in the net.
And the problem with that is that we're so predictable in the way that we attack that teams almost allow us to have this possession because they know that by allowing us to have this possession and by the risks that our defence take in the high line, Romero bombing forward, Porro going up, that once they intercept the ball, they can just do one ball over the top or a ball down the channel and they're away. So Ian, I think we just need to be careful that we just don't get sucked into possession-based football that sort of masks the real problems that we're having.
I want to weigh in on
and why we're not winning games.
I want to weigh in on this, right? But by the way, let me quickly do the super chats before I forgot. Mike Zappa, channel member, 30 months. Big up, Mike. Thank you so much. And Dietrich Kane, thank you, Dietrich. He says, big up everyone in the fraud Iggy. AC Milan are in the bin. Garbage, blah, blah, blah. AC Milan. Apparently, I was an idiot for saying Ange is clueless. Only 4 points out of 9. And Gray is generational. Doesn't even come off the bench. To be fair, Dietrich did bang this drum as well pretty early before anyone else. So I will give you props on that, Dietrich.
The only thing he should be banging is his head on the wall.
You can't say nothing about AC Milan.
A wall with an AC Milan poster on
it. See, now this is how I look at it right now. And
still got Kane in his profile picture. Fraud.
Has he?
He's still got Kane.
Oh my God!
On his profile picture. You know what? None of our 6 forwards will score the same amount of goals Kane scored in any given season.
See, now this is the issue for
Combined.
me, right? This is the issue
No.
for me. This weekend,
We ain't
I
got
can't-
killers, man.
I can't remember who I messaged, but I messaged someone saying I'm really looking forward to watching Brighton Arsenal because I'm really excited by Brighton and I want to see what Arsenal are about. And I'm also excited by West Ham, Man City. One, because Man City is just a joy to watch. And two, I want to see what West Ham are like with all the transfer business they've done. And I watched all these games. And the Man City one really caught my eye because they look unbelievable. I know it's only 3 games, but they look better than before. There's something about them I can see. And I'm thinking, holy shit. They look really shit hot. And I looked at their bench. Savio's out injured. Foden, Stones, Gundogan, Walker. And you think, Jesus Christ, man. Their bench is just as good as a starting 11. And every chance they create or every moment they have, it's either a world-class save from the West Ham goalie, crossbar, post, just wide, top goal, clinical finishing. And I'm thinking, this is a team that pins you back, has lots of possession, and puts you under immense pressure. They gave away a couple of chances. West Ham scored one of them, own goal. So they are susceptible at the back, but they all sprint back. And I look at Spurs, and this is what I see. I see a team that has lots of possession, lots of dominant play, pins the team back. But then, right, this is what we've got. And this is on Ange. It has to be, because he hasn't challenged it. I see these two. Okay, one of them's injured. Fair play. I can't really quite Solanke, but I see Richarlison's, Brennan Johnson's, Kulu's, Werner's, Odobert's. And the one thing they've all got in common, except for Solanke, against the top 10 teams, they're absolute garbage. Goals and assists. Garbage. And I mean garbage. Such low stats. And this is the problem we've got. We're playing the style of football, but we haven't, as Iggy said, we haven't signed the killers. We haven't signed people like Modric, Eriksen that can unpick locks and create those magical moments for the killer to put the ball in the back of the net. So we are so in trouble of converting this dominance into actual goals that if you don't capitalize on that dominance, the other team at this level is going to get chances. And when you're up against the Isaacs, the Gordons, the Barnes, the Trossards, the Sakas, the Haalands, the De Bruynes, the Diazes, the Salahs, the Gakpos, what our main rivals have got, they're going to bury us. And this is probably not. And to compound it, we're so drilled. We spend so much of our time coaching attack. We're not dedicating enough time to basics of defending, like man marking, knowing who to mark, knowing who's organising the line. And Ange's neglect for the defensive duties because he's so dependent on the attack. We're getting destroyed on basics in defending. Like we're not conceding these spectacular goals. We're conceding basic errors, basic lack of strategy.
And I think a fault as
recruitment is going to cost us again. Yeah, every manager. I'll finish. I'll be quick. Every manager pays the price because the recruitment is not good enough for what they want to do.
Agreed. And what one point I just want to make on the defending and the overall team is Ange selected a captain and 2 vice captains, right? But for me, he selected the wrong leadership group, really, in the squad. Initially, I was happy that Son was captain because he's a captain for his national team. However, with the benefit of hindsight, what we don't have is a player that's willing to shout on the pitch, pull people into the right positions, demand the best, because Romero doesn't do that. He's up for a scrap and he might shout at something randomly here and there, but he's not a leader, and he's certainly nothing like what Alderweireld and Vertonghen used to be like. And dare I say it, I think even Eric Dyer done a better job in terms of marshalling some of the defenders around him. To be honest, and we saw that a little bit when
But Maz,
when he was
they're
out of
not
the team and came
they're not
back.
set up right. Yeah, I can see the
No.
transitions. By the way, R9,
So
can you please listen to what I said? I said against the top 10, you're picking one bit, not everything I've said, and then you're just creating a muddle.
Yeah, and again, what
Yeah.
this is why I blame Ange is he gives some of the players a license to be creative and bomb forward, but he doesn't almost give that same license to the defense or let's call them the leaders to make decisions on the pitch in terms of how they defend. So Romero should be marshalling the defense, saying, "Look, we're too high up. We need to go back 10 yards because they're going to knock one ball over the top and do us." They're just almost blindly following the tactics and allowing themselves to make what we believe to be rudimentary mistakes. And I don't know. I just don't see other teams doing it as bad as us in that respect.
Maz, I'm telling you. Yeah, go, Lee, go.
Can I
Just going to say,
sorry, Neil.
sorry,
Lee,
just
go.
quickly.
Matt, if you want to say anything, just feel free whenever.
Listen, I said from the moment that Son got the captaincy, I said that is a publicity thing, not the right choice. It's a publicity thing for the club to give the diamond who's left at the club now the captaincy to keep everyone happy. Listen, it's really simple. I've coached 3 teams in the last 3 years. Whenever at the beginning of the season I pick a captain based on the fact that I pick the right person that knows what is going to happen, what's happening on the pitch, can manage it from on field. Because the problem you have as a manager is no matter what, whether it's low level like I am, kids, youth, whatever, trying to speak to your players while you've got 80, 60,000 people around you shouting is really, really hard. So you need someone on that pitch that can, when required, make decisions to change things and can read the game and understand what's going on, understand what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right, and makes minor adjustments and can communicate that. That's not Sonny. And again, and I don't think that's Romero either, because I think there still is quite a large language
Guys,
barrier.
are you
with
telling me
Romero.
by having a proper captain this stops? I don't believe that.
I don't think we've got a proper captain. I don't think
No,
we've
no,
got
I don't
anyone
think
on
that
pitch.
stops. No, I'm not suggesting that stops. All I'm saying is
what's his obsession with the captain then?
Because I don't think we've got a captain I don't think we have a captain on the field that can, as Maz is saying, can make adjustments on the fly.
Yeah,
while they're playing
just
to see what's going wrong.
Catalogue of problems
It's
not having strong leaders on the pitch is part of the problems that we're seeing.
But Maz, you don't have captains anymore like Souness, Graham Roberts, Roy Keane, Vieira, John Terry, Gerrard. You don't have those characters around anymore. That's what we need. We need someone who's.
But Arsenal have got.
We dominated this game. What's the captain going to do any different? Is the captain going to create a chance? Is he going to put the ball in the back of the net? Johnson smashed it 40 yards over the bar from 12 yards out. Odobert missed an open goal. We've got a talent problem.
Stell, you're being too literal.
No, Maz, just talking about yesterday.
If Kane and Eze were playing for Spurs yesterday, we win that game, in my view.
Absolutely. Johnson has put 2 balls into the box that are just amazing balls. That's what you want from him. If you say, what do you want?
That's an amazing ball, that, Ian.
What do you want?
Across the line, and he's put it into the area with no one there. How's that amazing?
Exactly.
Hang on. Van der Ven's the fastest player in the Premier League. Sonny kept up with him last week against Everton for the 4th goal. Why isn't Son sprinting to get into that box?
Why is the same reason?
Johnson's blindly put that ball in there, hoping someone's there.
Someone should have been in there. The point is,
Ian, you're right. Ian,
Solanke or Richie, they'd have been in there. We'd have scored from those.
All right, let's rewind this back. I agree, 100%. Son should be there. I totally agree, but he's not there. So why is he crossing it?
Yeah, but hold on, we're jumping around. We're really.
No, what I'm saying is the captain doesn't fix that, Maz. That's what I'm saying.
No, it doesn't. I've never suggested that the captain fixes
but we're saying
that.
we lack captains. But we're saying
No,
we're like
all
captains. I'm saying
No,
what for?
the point I raised,
Yeah.
right, in extension of your point in terms of the defending, right, is that Romero as the vice captain isn't marshalling the defence, right? I'm not suggesting he needs to be Roy Keane or whatever. He's not leading by example. He's making reckless errors himself, right? And having a few strong leaders that can lead by example and marshal the various areas of the pitches is essential to fix some of the problems that we're seeing. That's all
right.
I'm saying. I'm not
Okay,
saying
all right, Maz. All right, okay. Let's go with it. Let's go with this. Tell me what a captain does any differently to stop the 2 goals we conceded.
I gave you the example earlier. I said in certain scenarios, Romero could have marshaled that back 4 at that time to drop back 10 yards or 5 yards rather than pushing so high up.
Right,
if he had the license to do that.
The first goal, we are back. Look.
Yeah, but that's once the ball's been played. That's way in advance of that attacking phase, isn't it?
We never got caught by a high line on the first goal, Maz. We got caught
where
by
is
the second
Romero?
goal then, still.
Right, yeah, okay, but right now, this is what I'm saying to you. I don't think a captain drops this line. I think this is directly instructed by the manager, and this is a direct that the players are doing as they're being coached here.
But can I say something?
And you don't need a captain, do you?
You're missing a key
if
point
they're
in
just
what I
doing
said.
what they're being told, why do you need a captain at
But
all?
you're missing a key point. You're
Exactly.
selectively missing a key point in what I said. I said that Ange isn't giving them the license to make certain decisions on pitch that other teams have, like a Van Dijk would make on the pitch. That's all I'm saying.
Right, okay,
You're
I get it now. I get it.
That's not captaincy, that's leadership, though.
So you're saying Ange
captain is
isn't allowing the captain.
Yeah, but
to
what I'm
call
saying,
the
it's
shot.
nothing to do with the armband. This is just a leadership. Whether you have it or you
Yeah,
don't.
sure, fine.
Regardless of whether
No,
you
but
have an armband.
what if
You're a
Ange
leader,
isn't
you're a
letting them
leader.
do that? Does anyone
That's
here
the
think
thing. We
Ange
don't
is-
know that. We don't know that. We have to. We
I
don't
get
know
what
that.
Maz is saying now. Maz is saying that there's no point having a captain because the captain's not allowed to do what a captain should be doing.
Correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, I get it now. I get it.
pitch.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get it.
I don't think.
Sorry, Maz. I didn't understand.
I think the same as you, Stel. I think they're told to play in the same way, and we're like a group of 11 that try to do what they're told, rather than having that 1 or 2 players that are on the pitch going, do you know what? No,
Making proactive
listen,
decisions.
these Newcastle are doing this, going over to Maddison. Do you know what? Stop trying to pass the ball around. Just put a couple of balls across the front of the box. Johnson's at the back half the time,
but that's just,
and he comes
you know
in.
what, though? That's just football in general. They've been stripped of that. They've been stripped of making proactive decisions and adjusting to game situations.
Only at Spurs, because Man City,
maybe
right?
so.
That's napping at other teams, mate. I'm telling you.
Guys, real quick, in that still that you brought up there with that defense.
Which one?
The one that where the guy plays the ball for the guy. No, the other one, the line that he was looking at. The other one.
The second goal.
Yeah, this one here. Like, I know the defense is taking a lot of stick. Yeah, but you guys, tacticians out there, right? If you're having a line pressing that high, surely it's to squeeze the pitch and to allow the midfielders to pressure the guy on the ball. Why has Joe Linton got all that time to select a pass? The fault is not for the high line. Listen, whether I like the high line or not, this is how we play. If they are doing what's been instructed, and surely the midfield, in this case, the whole point of it is to make that, to tighten it up. Why are midfielders not close or making a foul to Jolinton? If they can't stop that pass being fed through, make the foul.
Isn't that from a turnover, though, Iggy? That's the issue. We get turned over too easy.
He got turned exactly. We got turned. We don't have
But at
players
the
with
same time,
characteristics. We don't have those players.
You're not wrong, but at the same time, we know this high line only works with Van der Ven, and he's missing, and we're still doing it. We know without Van der Ven, this is bonkers.
We cannot solely rely on the high line solely on Van der Ven. We can't.
Let's not move away from that, Stel. Let's just finish this point, right?
But we do.
When I look at teams like Arsenal, right, where they've
Liverpool
got a Rice,
Man United,
right,
fucking pressing right up there.
Yeah, they've got someone like a Rice and a Partey marshalling that team, right? You've got Man City where you've got experience. You've got Walker, Stones, Rodri, right? De Bruyne, all have got creative license to do
Maz,
their roles and
Maz,
master
real
the
quick,
team.
just to add to your point, did you see Liverpool the other day? Didn't
Yeah,
give
Liverpool. Oh my
Casemiro.
God.
They didn't
Yeah.
give Casemiro any chance to get on that ball. And when he did, bang, they
Look
were
at
on
the
that.
quality
So,
of players Liverpool.
well, thank you. I'm glad we're getting to that point. It comes down to quality of the players and players. To be fair to do the likes of Bissouma, Maddison, and I can't remember Sarr, players with the characteristics
the
of.
half was useless.
But this is what I'm
Mate,
saying.
I
To
was
play that
begging
game, you
for
need to
Bergvall to
have
come
certain. Your midfield, and we listen. I've said this before. Our biggest issue is in the midfield, even more so than the lack of killers up front, which is an issue on its own. It's the midfield. We don't have players with those characteristics in the same way that perhaps Liverpool and Arsenal, like you just mentioned now, Naz, with those characteristics to go and really do that job. You see, Lee, you just said we got turned over. Why? Because we are easily turned over. We don't have the players to play that game. So Maddison's not going to be Joelinton. I think it turned Maddison to play that ball. You don't have to. So you can have all the high line you want. You can drop as deep as you want. At the end of the day, if you don't have certain players doing a certain job for your team for the way that you want to play, it's pointless playing that system. So Ange may be right or wrong as he may be. He wants to play a certain way, but he doesn't have the players to do it. So what do we do? Do we stop playing the same way and go against Ange's way of playing just to suit the players that we have? Or do we give him the players that he needs to do the job? It's almost the same thing that we had with Conte and with Jose. They wanted to play a certain way and they didn't have the players. And when they get the players, Conte should change his way. Jose should change his way. Now we're saying Ange should change his ways. But we hired a manager that plays that way. And now we're telling him
Jose and Conte tactically on a different level to Ange. Sorry.
No, Maz. The point is the same, isn't it? We are telling a manager to change his ways to adapt to the team that he's got. When we should be supplying them the players.
I'm not.
I'm not saying you are. I'm saying this is a situation. This is what I mean about rinse and repeat. We always find ourselves the same way. We need to adapt. Because we don't have the players to do that job, then why are we having? Is that Tommy? If you
don't do press interviews saying I've been backed. Don't do that because you have got the players you want.
That's on him then. So what does it matter? Listen, for me, it makes no blind bit of difference whether Ange stays and gets sacked or goes, because ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, nothing's actually changed. So you can say, yeah, he's been backed, and Tommy just said it as well. You know, he's the players that he wants. Then okay, then he will be judged on results.
Iggy, the crazy thing is, funny enough, you just mentioned Conte just now. The players here are tailor-made. Some of them, particularly at the back and the wing backs. This is a team where you have Dragusin, Romero, and Van der Ven, who are three very good centre backs. All have different talents, all have different abilities. They're strong in different areas, which is great, and they all dovetail together. Then you've got Porro and Udogie as wing backs. You've got somebody like Spence who could come in. One of them got injured. He showed at Forest, very good as a wing back. But Ange can't see it. Ange is too intransigent to change, and the whole system relies, as you said, Iggy, all relies on Van der Ven sprinting back and getting balls over the top that are played through. And if he's not there, I mean, Sunday, why didn't he drop 10 yards back? Dragusin hasn't got Van der Ven's explosive pace, and nor has Romero, nor has Udogie or Porro for that matter. Van der Ven's the fastest player in the Premier League, so you've got to adapt. And he didn't adapt. If Van der Ven had been playing yesterday, if we'd had Van der Ven and Solanke, neither of those goals. Personally, I think Van der Ven wouldn't have let either goal through, because Udogie's foul would have been. Hang on. For the first goal, Van der Ven would have cleared up the mess Udogie caused, because he was out.
Van der Ven was part of the 4-0 drubbing last year. He was in the same system.
Okay, no, but that was the one bad game he played in 30 odd games that he played for us. Still, he was
in a lot of teams we lost with the high line.
Sorry,
he played in a lot of our teams that lost when we played a high line. He can't do it every single time, can he?
No, but the ball that went over where Udogie ended up pushing, was it Gordon pushing him over? Van de Ven would have swept that up through his pace, and the ball through the middle for the second goal, Van de Ven would have got that as well. But the worry is that
last year, though.
Sorry,
but he didn't last year. He got put in his arse last year.
Well, okay.
we're hoping he will. This is
if you look at the tackles, what did he make? 100 tackles, and he was on his arse twice. So I'd go with the law. I'd go with the percentages.
But all right, here's the thing, right? But he wasn't there yesterday, so
and should have got.
So this doesn't matter. So you know what? I think Maz has hit the nail on the head. Conte and Jose tactically are on a completely different level to Ange. They look at the players they've got and they say, right, what's the best I can do with what I got? And and they worked it to say, right, I'm just going to defend because we're so shit. I've got to defend for my life because if they have to, if we attack and they get caught out, we're done. So I'll defend for my life. And as long as I can get the ball to Son and Kane, we've got a chance every game. Yeah, and you know what? One got to a cup final and the other one got top 4.
Yeah, but hang on, that's a big caveat though. To have Son and Kane, you know you can get a goal. You just need to make it
have them.
But the thing is, we're not tight enough at the back. We're not tight enough at the back, and we definitely got no killers at the front. So you're double fucked because you're not scoring enough, and you're conceding more than
the defense 15 yards.
Yeah, but to tag on to what, because I think Ian's made a lot of good points here. And this is where I was going with the leadership / captain, right? Romero and maybe not Dragusin, right, because he's a bit younger, but maybe someone like Porro and Basuma should be saying to Ange, look, we can't play a high line. Van de Ven's not in the team. Can we drop back 10 yards, boss? Because, you know, it will help us in running back. But it seems like they just all blindly follow their tactics no matter what. And that's only got to be coming from Ange because he's refusing to change. And I think that's bad. I think that's really bad. The fact that we lack that leadership, you know, it means that the 3 leaders, Son, Romero, and Maddison, aren't not standing up, because that's the wrong. Because we don't want them to be adversaries to the manager, but having leadership conversations with the manager, saying, look, how about we try this, or there's a problem here, we need to change it. Whereas I think players in other clubs like a Virgil van Dijk or Rodri would say something to their managers because they've been there, done it, won everything. They're the voice of the manager on the pitch.
I think you need to reach a certain pinnacle of state. You need to reach a certain status, a certain pinnacle of your being to even have that kind of conversation, having a rapport, a relationship with the manager, where you can go knock on the door and say, "Look, I've chatted to the boys, and we think we should do this." I don't know. I just think today's football.
World Cup winner. Iggy.
I just think today's football is.
What status has Ange got that they're scared?
No. What I'm trying to say is
that you're going up to Mourinho. You're going up to Klopp.
Is a very much a managerial. I think the managers, like, too much power has been given to the managers, and the way they structured, the way they want everything to be, to the point where they have to do. Like Pep is one of them. For the great manager that he is very, very anal when it comes to movements of the players, even if they decide to do. Do you remember that time when Henry said?
Yeah, but he delivers success though, so you do.
I agree. But I
think a manager should have ultimate power, right? I think there should be a hierarchy. The manager should have ultimate power, and they should demand respect from the players, right? But a good manager who has respect and power also has individuals in his team that will stand up to him. That is a mark of a great leader, that he's willing to have individuals that will tell him when he's wrong or communicate to him when things are going bad. And we don't have that.
Can I tell you something here? And then I want to come to Matt, because Matt hasn't really spoken. Right? All I want to say on this is, when you do your coaching badges, they teach you, ask your players, Lee can confide to this, they ask your players, what do you think? How do you feel? And you open up, you create an environment where players feel comfortable that they can contribute to the plan, and you make them feel like it's their plan as well, right? even though you might work it so actually you kind of get what you want to some extent.
You need them on board.
Yeah, and so Ange must have that. So I'm thinking these players are just quiet. They don't really say what they want to say for whatever reason, because you know what? They're just comfortable at the club. And Harry Kane said this when he went to Bayern Munich. We lose here, you feel it. You lose at Tottenham 2-3 games, it's, you know.
I know what you mean. And still, the 2 questions on a Saturday morning after the previous week's game that we used to ask the boys. How do you think you did? And what could you have done differently, depending on what the result was, right? Not what I think you did well and what I think you could have done differently, because they're learning, right? And that's what we used to ask them. And I don't know. I know these are professional footballers and they're getting paid hundreds of £1,000s a week.
They're comfortable.
I'm not going to lie.
They're comfortable at Spurs.
It's almost like we've become
employees.
Do you know what? It's almost like I see when I watch other teams play though, Iggy, I see players like this, right? I see players that are all they care about is what happens on that pitch. How can they do something to win? How can they change the game? That's your superstar. That's the guy that changes games for you. That's your Rodri or your Bale or that kind of thing, right? For me, I don't see any of that in Tottenham. And I'll be honest, the only people, Maz said it, I think to an extent, Eric Dyer used to be like that, but I think the only other person recently that I've seen with that kind of mentality, unfortunately we got rid of him, was Højbjerg. That's the only other person I've seen with the mentality. It's the mentality is really strange
because
with
he
the
came
players
from
at
Bayern
Tottenham
Munich.
at the moment. Well, yeah, exactly.
I want to bring
just
in
don't get it. It's like a social media club at the moment.
It all starts from the top. Matt, very quickly, 2 super chats. A user, thank you so much. He says, we are a team playing drafts with chess pieces. That's, do you know what? Spot on. And he also says, regardless if X was playing or not, we always lose. Matt, you've heard this for about half an hour. What do you think?
Yeah, just 2 points I want to make. In regards to the second goal, when the ball goes to Joe Linton, okay, you have triggers on the pitch. So theoretically, when the ball goes sideways or the ball goes back, you press. You press and you squeeze, and it's led from the back. They instruct you to go and press, go and win that ball, go and shut him down. So Maddison goes to Joe Linton. You could argue that physically it's a bit of a mismatch, but Maddison's the one that's a trigger to go and press Joe Linton. I think he's weak in the challenge and he quickly gets rolled and Joe Linton. From there, Joe Linton's got time to look up. Now, as a defender, a World Cup winning defender who I rate highly, he has to sense danger. He has to know, he can see, he's got a clear view. He has to see that Joe Linton now has time on the ball. So he has to think, I have to drop. I have to drop. If you look at all the other Tottenham defenders, they're running or they're heading back towards the goal. Romero's the only defender that is still facing Joe Linton. So there's a concern. He's the only player. Now, you can argue he possibly is trying to play offside, but he doesn't look like it. He's in the wrong position. If he's on the half turn, he gives himself 2 or 3 yards. He gives himself a chance. But he looks like he does not see Murphy at all. The only player that sees Murphy is Adoji on the left and Dragusin, who tries to come over to him. So I'm sure when they play this back to Romero, he's probably going to put his hands up and say, my bad, I got that wrong. He's in the wrong position. Ange's system is all about compacting the game and making it difficult for people to play. We at times don't have the right players in that middle park to follow out his instructions. My second point is, what happens halfway through the season, 3/4, or even at the end of the season, when it looks like there's players that can't execute what Ange wants them to do. That's my second point. That's my next question, because Ange has some clear instructions how he wants Tottenham to play with the ball and without the ball. I'm wondering how long he's going to stay on that hill, insisting certain players do certain things which it looks like they can't do. That's my question.
Well, he hasn't
you
done
know
anything about
what
it
the
yet,
funny
has
thing,
he?
you know what the funny thing is about that still there, that with Joelinton playing that ball, that if Dragusin just played like literally just went the other way, like half a yard up, those two players would have been offside. So you
Do
can
you
argue
think
that
Romero
you
was
can argue
playing the
Romero.
offside line?
Correct.
But-
Listen, I think he's in a position where he's trying to say he's offside, but
It doesn't
he
look
hasn't
like
got-
it.
Look at Porro, Romero, and Udogie are online. Dragusin probably panics with the space that's beyond him and went, instead of just holding his nerve and playing the offside. But then to play the offside, it takes. Listen, at that point there, the problem is that there's no togetherness. They haven't played long enough. The understanding between these players is not there. Like I said, the line between the three of them is right. Dragusin's gone the other way, and it's kept everyone on. I'm not blaming Dragusin. By all means, do you know what? I actually like Dragusin, but I think in this system it shows his vulnerabilities more than his strengths. And I think in that incident, he probably panicked.
2 months ago.
Can I just say one thing?
Go on, Ian.
Anybody here who has played football, you know that you do not play offside 25 yards from the ball in that situation. It's complete madness. You just don't play. You're too high up. You cannot play offside. You know, you're also giving anybody an opportunity to come from their own half. Little ball over the top, bang, you're through.
From there, very difficult.
You've got to work out. If you're in your box, if you're in your own area, and the other team are 20, 25 yards off, that's one thing. But when they are where Joelinton was, and he's facing on, he's got the whole pitch in front of him. You do not play offside. It's kamikaze.
In that instance, it might have been. Again, it's difficult when you don't have that back four. They've got to be playing together week in, week out.
But if you got
if you characteristically play an offside situation where they all step up, the only ball Joelinton would have had was that wide ball where the guy's on the touchline wide. That's the only ball he would have had. But unfortunately, where you have one player square going up and the other player facing the other way, that's what's done us, man. At the end of the day, listen,
Romero's in the wrong. He's in the wrong position, Romero. He's standing straight.
Listen, Romero's
in the wrong
not going.
position.
I'll tell you what's happened there, man. Romero's done a sneaky one. He didn't want to go in a foot race with that geezer behind him. It's as simple as that. He knew you weren't going to catch him.
Possibly.
And that's the bottom line. When you know that guy's got a beating of you, the only chance I would do it, I'm thinking this guy, I'm not going to beat him on a foot race in a 50-yard run behind me. Best chance I've got here is to try and play offside. But unfortunately for him, he's not in line. He's not. The other guy's gone the other way. Like Dragusin has gone the other way. So I'm fucked now. That's exactly what's happening.
Do you know one big problem with this, right? And I said it for the first goal as well, and I say it for this goal, right? You can see it here, right? Sorry, no, that's the Odobert miss. You can see it here, right? You can see it here, and you can see it here. Here, this one's even worse because we've got time to sort it out. And I tell my players to do this. I say to them, stand behind the man. Why are you 5 yards? Stand behind the man. If he turns, nudge him. If he goes forward, put your hand out. Don't let him turn on you. Man marking. There's no man marking. We're standing 5 yards away from the players. We're allowing them to make the run. You can't even do a little slide one where you pretend to look at the ball and you kind of lean back into them and stuff like that. You know, you literally just have the space. Why are we standing on them? You see it here as well for the first goal, and I'm telling you guys, I'm convinced. Ange and the coaches, they're not dedicating enough time to defensive coaching. They're not. I can see it.
The
It's
thing is, you're
just
always in trouble.
possession,
Phil,
possession,
you know,
possession.
you're
Play out
always
from the
in
back,
trouble
play out from the back, possession,
when
possession,
when a
attack.
centre back's ahead of their fullbacks.
Yeah.
That's the most fucked up position you can be in, because
Correct.
as a centre backs, you always want to see your fullbacks ahead of you. If you see him behind you, you are screwed.
Iggy, do you know what? When I was in Holland, right, we were at the Ajax Academy. They were coaching how to defend against fast counterattacks when you do press when you have got a high line, and they said they call it 1 in 1 out, right? So they said don't stand side by side, stand like that. So a through ball, this guy can come across, or this guy can intercept. So it's almost like a scissor. When you stand like this, a ball goes straight through. So just stand like that at diagonal. So like a Dogie's here, then the other one's in front, then one's back, then one's front. So it's almost like a zigzag, not massive, 5 yards. So that this pass here from Joe Linton, if let's say Romero's 5 yards further back, Dragusin's on the halfway line, Porro's 5 yards back, that pass shouldn't split you. Okay, you forgive playing the offside trap. It's like forget the offside. It's about intercepting that ball. But when it's a straight line, that's how. So for example, I'm not saying do that, but what I'm saying is someone that understands defensive coaching will say to Ange, or Ange will know, right, let's try this next game. Let's try 1 in 1 out and see if this stops our high line being so vulnerable when we don't have a fast player. But he doesn't even do that. He doesn't even try.
In that shot, the hardest thing for me to understand is the amount of options Joe Linton's got. He hasn't just got those two forwards. He's got Tonali there that can receive the ball and he can attack that space. He's got that guy on the I don't think that many of you can spot him. The guy's on the far right over there.
Yeah, behind the
Dogie. Behind the Dogie.
Yeah.
So Udogie's trying to close in on that forward between him and Romero. But he's got another option over there. So how
Livramento's the furthest guy.
Yeah, Livramento. So look, with Werner's over here. Livramento's up there. That's the fullback. So we are just so. I can't just blame that line, man. I have to look at the whole midfield setup there.
I blame the line for not marking players, man-to-man marking, and 2, not being. Why can't it be deeper? And 3, like I said, 1 in 1 out. It's just a variation of the high line. Not many managers or coaches use it, but it's there. And a coach's job is to say, right, how can I tweak this high line to stop that killer pass splitting us? We don't change anything. It's like, right, that's what we do. That's what we do. Van der Ven's not playing. That's what we do.
The other
Van der
thing,
Ven's playing.
we
That's
don't have
what
any. We don't have
Adoge's
any.
missing. We've got Ben Davis or Skip at left back. That's what we do. It's mad.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. That's just craziness. But the other thing, we don't have any cuteness about us. We don't make a foul. We don't grab someone by the shirt. We don't slow the play down. We don't kick them down. There's no. You see it like, I was watching that Man United. Minor. Yeah, just the naive is so naive. Someone rolls us. We don't make the foul. Clip him, man. Trip him up. Don't make that. Don't make whatever happens. Don't give him the freedom to do that.
Right, Iggy, I'll come to you on this, right? I want to talk about Ange because people are saying give it time.
I've seen him bent over twice in 3 games.
That was Leicester.
Yeah, that's not, why? What's happening there, man? What's going on with these bending overs? I saw 2 in 3 games. That's not good enough. I hate to see what he's going to be like.
I'm not sure we can talk about it on.
No. But why? What's happened this season? What's happened in these 3 games? He's never done that. Never done that.
He's down to Holland for a 1 in 1 out.
It's the realization. This is the Premier League, and you can't have Odoberts and Johnsons and Turbo Wieners and play the football you want because the defenses and the goalies are slightly better.
He's been backed.
Well, look, this is what I want to get on to, right? And I want to have this chat because a lot of people are shying away from it. Now, there's a lot of stats that have been going around. He's only won 3 away games out of 12. He's only picked up 10 points on the road out of the last 36. He's only picked up 45 points out of a possible 96. These stats put us mid-table, and people have been circulating that. But shout out to Prince of Spurs who sent me this. If we look at Ange, Conte, and Jose at their last 5-6 clubs, and we look at the games and the points per game, Ange comes bottom. So Conte and Jose outdo him. Now, if we just look at Ange versus Conte versus Jose, and bear in mind, Ange has spent more money than any other manager in the history of our club. He spent more than what Poch spent in 5 years. This is a little bit, well, no, it's not a little bit. It is alarming, right? So Ange has got the worst record of the last 3 managers. Well, Mourinho, Conte, and him. So Mourinho goals scored 2.1 per game. Antonio Conte 1.79. Ange is above Conte, but below Mourinho. So Mourinho had a better goal scoring record as manager than Ange. But when you look at defense, it's not even close. Conte smashes it out the park. Mourinho did well. Ange is third. So he's being outperformed by those two, and those two got hounded out of the club. But because the football's more front-footed, it's a bit more attacking, it's being accepted, it's being tolerated. And what we're doing now, and again, this is something Cheyenne said to me today, and I agreed with him. The pressure we are putting on Solanke to come and prove this works, the whole weight on the club is going to be put on Solanke to convert chances now, because that's why we're not winning, because Solanke's not here. How much pressure are we putting on that bloke?
Do you know what
Can I
worries
just
me
add
about
as
that,
well,
though?
though? Can I just add, though, quickly?
Yeah.
2-second point is that
Yeah.
the back four from Jose's era and Conte's era is probably the worst back four Tottenham have had in the last 20 years.
But with a better striker.
Yeah, granted.
Balance I want to be fair. But is that over a period of the same amount of games still?
It's per game, so it's ratioed, so it's fair. Yeah, but Iggy, but the defensive stats for Conte and Mourinho completely smash Ange out the park. So
yeah, we're conceding way too many goals. We know that.
Yeah, Lee, go on.
But what worries me about this Solanke thing, right? And listen, I'll say one thing about him first of all. He's been here one game. We've already injured the bloke, and he played 38 games last season. And secondly,
so unlucky, isn't it? So unlucky.
I know, yeah, I know. It's like he's cursed at Sirs.
Yeah.
After watching him in his first game, and I was the same as everyone else. You know, he's only had one good season. Prior to that, blah blah blah. He's only done this, that, and the other at Chelsea and Liverpool. Okay, fair enough. We don't know what he's going to be like, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for this season. Let's see if he can step up and actually do it at a bigger club. It took me one game, that first game, to know that if he doesn't do well, me personally, I don't believe it will be because of him or what his abilities or his attributes are like playing for Spurs up front. It will be because the system does not suit him. I don't believe this system suits a striker, even like a Kane or someone like that. Kane will go and get his own goals. That's the kind of player he is. I don't think we put enough balls in the box. I don't think we move and transition forward quick enough where he can use his abilities to bring other people into the game. Things like, you know, holding the ball up, which apparently Richie couldn't do. I hope he doesn't become a scapegoat because he doesn't score enough, but that's because, again, tactically or the system doesn't necessarily work for bringing out the best in his abilities. Because I just didn't sit in that game. I think the couple of chances he had, he made them himself. It wasn't because of the fluid football that we were playing. It's because of he created those chances. I hope and pray for him as a player that he doesn't get treated like that here, and that's what happens because it's not.
Well, I think there's so much pressure on him now.
Yeah, and I don't think that's right.
What do you guys think about
football style? I mean, it comes with pressure. You know, he hasn't asked for the price tag, but it comes with pressure. He's at a top 6 football club. He's got to hit the ground running. I don't think that's anything wrong in that.
That's
Solanke
great, hit the ground running.
He's the only,
but not if you're in a system that's not playing your strengths.
Yeah,
you know, we don't need a Solanke at 65 million to score a tap in. Richarlison can do that. If all we're going to do is try and tap it in from fucking 6 yards, you don't need Solanke for doing that.
We need Filippo Inzaghi.
He's a number 9. He's a
Gary
proper number 9. We haven't had one since Kane. He's a number 9. Look at how he leads. Even in that brief game against Leicester, he's a proper number 9. He understands that position. We've had a hybrid in Richarlison and Son. He's a proper focal point number 9. He will lead the line. He will take the weight off some of our other players. Yes, he's not a silky, he's not the name that everybody expects, but he is a proper number 9. And we haven't had one since Harry Kane. So I understand completely the reason why Tottenham will look at just a better outfit with a number 9 up front.
But Matt,
he's a guy that will say, when you're under pressure...
Yeah.
So the biggest thing we said when we lost Harry Kane was that, okay, he's irreplaceable. We won't get someone that's going to score the amount of goals that Harry Kane scores in a single season. So what do you do in that situation? If you can't replace somebody that can score the same amount of goals per se, you distribute it. You spread it. You spread it so collectively we can come up with the same sort of goals. Have we spread that? Son, outside of Son, who's going to get 10, 15 goals? Solanke, maybe, God willing. But outside of that, Werner, is he going to score 15 goals? Kulusevski, Johnson, the other fella that we just brought in. Where's the distribution of Kane's goals? Because at the end of the day, essentially, we haven't replaced those goals. So even when we concede, you think, with Kane's, we can always get one more. But when we concede the amount of goals that we concede, which is something that needs to be sorted out, and we're not doing equally as good the other way, it's very difficult to see. And this is what I'm trying to say. And it goes back to how we started the show, is that we haven't addressed the issues that we have in this team. The number 6 role, the distribution of the goals. Where are the killers on the forward? So you can have all the dominances you want, but if you don't have the killers that put the ball in the back of the net, in the same way that Haaland does.
Clinical footballers.
Clinical, one chance, one goal.
Salah.
There comes Salah.
Diaz under Arnie Slot.
Diaz. Those are the players. Osimhen has just gone on loan to Galatasaray. We knew the troubles he's got at Napoli. I'm not saying we was going to spend the money on him, but he's gone on a dry loan now. So these are guys that they don't need. They might miss one invitation, but they're not going to let go of the second invitation. And this is what I mean. We haven't sorted out one and we haven't sorted out the other. And more importantly for me, I'll say it again, we haven't really addressed the issues that we have in the middle of the park either. So it's very, very hard. But it's very hard to obtain the goals that you wish to achieve when you haven't addressed any of the issues that you have. That's why this is why I'm calm. And I know Vicario, and I'm glad that comment came up by Sammy. Vicario's getting, at the end of the day, man, the guy's conceding 2-3 goals a game. And it's like, for a goalkeeper, it's difficult. But even when we know he's a good goalie, but his performances will be affected because of the lack of insurance that he has in front of him. So, I mean, to take out on a goalkeeper, I think he's the last person we should be looking at. But
I think Vicario and Udogie have regressed.
Knowing when to kick the ball up the field, though.
I think they've regressed. Vicario and Udogie for me at the moment. They've
regressed since joining us. They've regressed since joining because they won when they showed their worth. When they're in form and the team is functioning, they absolutely show their worth. And if they've regressed, it's our fault as well, man.
I'm not blaming them. I think the system's hurting them. Iggy, are you going? You staying?
Yeah, I need to shoot. You said you wanted me to stay on for another minute. Is that
wherever you want?
Yeah, I'll stay on another 5, but I need to shoot.
Big up, Steve, by the way.
Big up, Steve.
How you doing? You must be happy beating Spurs. Do you think you were lucky, or do you think you deserved it?
No, I thought we were pretty lucky because I didn't think we played that well. I thought you guys had the better chances in the game. I thought that you guys played the overall better football. I thought that you guys just looked more cohesive than us. Like, I talked about it yesterday to a few people. I'm like, look, if Eddie Howe's going to change up the way we're playing, because last year we were trying to be on the front foot, scored 85 goals, even though we had a lot of injuries and stuff, but defensively we weren't good. So if we're going to go down this counter-attacking route, I don't mind that. Because defensively we have been pretty good. And I thought defensively yesterday we were pretty good overall. So my problem is that when we get on the ball, we look we look woeful. Honestly, at times we look really bad on the ball and trying to get it forward. Gordon. He doesn't look.
He
does
wasn't in
not
the
look
game
good.
yesterday, Steve.
Huh?
He wasn't in the game yesterday.
Yeah.
The
Maybe
second
one or
half, I
two
think we mentioned
moments.
him once or twice.
Yeah, and that was the same thing in our previous 3 games against Bournemouth and Southampton and Nottingham Forest. So, and Isak as well wasn't involved really outside of the goal.
Do you think
So
Tonali, when he came on, changed the game for you guys?
100%,
Yeah.
man.
That was
What a
the game-changing moment. Because I asked that yesterday on the show. What was for you guys? What was the moment that changed the game? It was the Tonali sub.
When
Our
you
crowd
scored
got
your
up
second
for
goal.
it. Our crowd got up for it.
He's quality, man. He's quality.
Yeah. No, for sure. We missed him a lot. So that was the moment the game changed for me. If we kept on Longstaff, we probably wouldn't have scored that second goal, to be honest. Even though Tonali wasn't involved in the goal, it brought a spark to the team that we needed really bad. Because it's not even that I don't like counterattacking football. Because I don't mind, right? I really don't mind, but we just didn't look like, I don't know. We just don't really look like the intensity.
You didn't have the ball after 20 minutes. You didn't have the ball. It was Tottenham. We had the ball for the second half of the first half, most of the second half. You had that one. There was that one chance where I can't remember who it was. They went in close on goal from an angle, and Vicario made a really good.
Murphy, wasn't it? Was it Murphy?
Murphy.
I think. Yeah.
Vicario made that brilliant save close. See, that's Vicario at his best, like close range shot stopping. That's what he's actually really good at. Other than that, it was the Isak goal. You did nothing second half. But then again,
absolutely nothing.
But those two moments, the one Murphy's shot was saved and Isak's goal, they were big chances. We didn't create anything like that other than the Odobert miss. This is the problem. We didn't create anything for all the ball we had.
And also that ball, I feel like another crucial moment in the game was when it was a 2v1. Gordon slid. Brennan Johnson was breaking down the right. And he could have played a ball if he was a capable winger. I'm not saying like he has to be like an amazing one, but there was a ball that he could have played to Son. But he takes so many touches. He eventually dribbles it to the box, and then I believe it's Bruno who just slid in and cleared it like off the not off the
Wasn't there a
goal line,
moment where Son was running down the middle into the box and he should have passed it?
Yeah, and Bruno cleared it. Yeah. That was about the 72nd minute, 73rd, and then I think we scored about 5 minutes later, maybe. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm underwhelmed by us personally. I'm underwhelmed. I don't think we're going to be able to play this way for too long because look, Dan Burn and Emil Kraft, I thought were solid again yesterday, but we're not going to be able to do that.
What, the guy that scored our goal?
Yeah, Dan Burn. Yeah. 6'8" Dan Burn. Yeah.
The Spurs goal scorer.
Yes, the Spurs goal scorer. I'm sad. Are you guys surprised it didn't give credit to the goal wasn't given to Johnson on that? Or do you think it was an own goal?
It was going wide, man. It was going wide.
Oh, it was. That's true.
That's another. Do you know what, Steve? As well, I have to say, and I think the commentator said this as well. That Pope yesterday, what was he doing for some of the saves?
Shocking.
He was making. It was almost like he was doing it for the cameras, when he could have just caught it, or he was flapping it to the side. He was. I mean, that goal was.
He was shaky
really.
From the off.
He was really. Some of the decisions he was making was really strange.
I think the save on Madison. The save on Madison was pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, the top corner one. But that was after, wasn't it? That was after the goal winning. I think
so.
And
yeah.
I think that goal going in rattled him even more. And after that, he was fine. But before that, he was just flapping stuff all over the place. But
I'm worried a little bit about him, but at the same time, our backup is Martin Dubravka. So And if he plays yesterday, notice how when Nick Pope got injured last year and Dubravka had to play, I think it was most of the second half of the season. We were drawing 4-4 with Luton, drawing with Bournemouth, losing to Nottingham Forest 3-1, which for me is the changing point for Newcastle. That's my concern with Eddie Howe. I have not seen the same Newcastle United over a 3-game basis since then. Because the intensity for me, like when he first came into Newcastle, it was we were pressing, we were kind of on the front. Well, no, first year actually, sorry, I just woke up. When he first came in, we were defensively solid, brought in Trippier, Bruno, and we hit on the break, and we had finished 12th because we were dead and buried. Honestly, dead and buried because we didn't win a game until December. When he came in, we didn't win a game. And then we finished 12th that year. And then the year that we qualified for the Champions League, that's when we had that was our that was the year we won 6-1 against you guys, I believe. It was the 6-1. We're up 5-0.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that team since the Boxing Day game that we lost 3-1 to Forest of last year. So I'm concerned about Newcastle a bit, but
yeah, but you've not made any. You've had an awful transfer window.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
The worst in the Premier League. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the PSR and the FFP stuff is we don't have the revenue that you guys do.
This is where Daniel Levy's actually pretty good, but we just don't have to take advantage of this financial power of ours because the chairman doesn't care.
Imagine if the situations were flip flopped. You had PIF and we had Levy.
The thing is though, we've spent the money, haven't we? We've spent the money and we've lowered the wage bill, and that for me that's just intentional. And I almost don't know what to say about it in the sense that see you, Iggy.
Iggy, have a good one.
Bye.
Good to see you again, man.
It's just beggars belief that the club just doesn't have ambition. I mean, surely he could have worked it whereby he could have spent less money, bought in better players. Yes, he would have had to pay the better players more money, but then that's where your younger promising youth kids come into play, where you can still keep the wage bill, lower than in the realms of where he feels comfortable. There is better ways of doing it. And I don't think it takes a genius to figure that out. Just looking at the immediate signings of the clubs around us, what the business that West Ham have done, the business that Liverpool have done, Brighton. Yeah, João Pedro and Kaiser
So Maz, Ian, I spoke to Ian earlier. Ian's got this theory, and I've heard it actually from another two people, that what Levy's done is he's reduced the wage bill, cleaned up the books, and made us a more financial, marketable proposition for investors to come in.
Yes, absolutely. Because he needs that for his hotel.
Maz, that's what this transfer window has been all about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I actually said something similar last year. But as soon as I saw the plans for the hotel, I said the first thing he's going to do is start reducing his wage bill.
Yeah.
And then we had a whole bunch of players that were coming to the end of their contracts coming up. And I thought, well, that's a prime opportunity for him to cut his losses, reduce the wage bill, and do whatever. And
the other thing also,
again, sorry, Ian. The thing is, though, you can still lower your wage bill and get in the players you wanted if they were true to their word and really wanted to bring in the youth. You had a great opportunity to do that last year when Ange first came in, right? So, and I don't get why we wouldn't do that, because that surely is a more long-term strategy that would have bought Ange 2 or 3 or 4 years if we went down that route from the beginning, but he didn't do that.
Well, if you look, just two things. Firstly, in terms of transfers, he sold 4 experienced players and brought in 1, with Gio, Emerson, Højbjerg and Skip going. And this is deliberate. This is to bring in investment. Part of the deal with Haringey Council to build the new grounds was for Spurs to be heavily involved in regenerating the area. Now it's all in writing. Now I'm sure the hotel was part of it. They've also got housing, social housing. You've also got, they were talking about building a walkway from the station, from White Hart Lane station to the grounds. They were meant to knock down the block of flats opposite the station and rebuild and rehouse everybody in White Hart Lane itself, somewhere along there. That hasn't happened yet. It's interesting because my daughter is now at uni, but she was doing geography A level, and she had to, as part of her A level, had to pick an area and go and look and do a whole report on that area. And just coincidentally, she did Tottenham. And I took her down to Spurs one Sunday. She had several questions that had been given to her that she had to ask. And we went into, we were told not to go onto that estate unless you actually knew somebody. They said you just don't go on there because there's problems. But by and large, we spoke to people in Sainsbury's. We went into people spoke to people, fans in the Bricklayers Arms. Spoke to people in the Spurs shop, people in the newsagents in White Hart Lane and the shops along there. And the locals were really cheesed off. And I'm going back 2 or 3 years because all that had been done, apart from the ground and the station, was Sainsbury's. And that was it. And, there's so much that the club are in for at the moment that's going to cost them money.
But we waste money, Ian. That's.
I agree with you. We have spent, since Paritici came in, we have spent £600 million.
Yeah, and I run my own business. I've got
and look at our bench. And look at our bench.
And what I don't understand from a business point of view is they've tried this quantity over quality thing many times in the past. And surely as a business, you look at that and you think, right, that strategy hasn't paid dividends because when we sell our players, we don't, aside from the Gareth Bale and the Harry Kane, which let's be honest, is a bit of luck involved in that. We don't, we're not a Brighton. We're not making huge profits on our sales. So surely a businessman like Levy should be looking at it and thinking, actually, look, we need to buy a higher caliber of player that's proven quality that potentially will get even better, and then we might capitalize on that investment and bring success on the pitch and all of the the revenues and et cetera that will come with that. But we don't do that. And for me, from a business perspective, that's nuts. Who's advising him on that front? Just on that front, not everything else.
Okay,
just on that.
Let me answer you on that. Levy's been mentored by Joe Lewis. And also his father, who was a great trader, did brilliantly in menswear with Mr. Byright.
I remember that in Wood Green. I used to buy clothes from there.
Yeah, so he's a trader. Look at the. It's funny actually with Tottenham. Every transfer window they talk about opportunity. And look at the way that they operated by looking for deals in the last week of the season for years and years and years. If there's a deal, he'll move like lightning. Dele Alli, 5 million. Bang, like that. Modric, 15 million. Basuma, 1 year left on his contract. Tony Bloom doesn't sell players for 25 million. Maddison, 30 million. 1 year left on his contract and relegated with Leicester. And it goes on and on and on. And, we could have had Ollie Watkins for 27 million plus add-ons from Brentford. Fleet told him to go and buy him. No, we ended up didn't want to spend that money on someone who wasn't going to be a guaranteed starter. It was all about potential. Pleat saw the potential in Ollie Watkins.
Grealish as well.
what did we do? Well, that was another story. That was different. But what did we do? We went and got Carlos Vinicius on loan for 3 million. It's only about the deal, and also the fact that they put the boat out in Dombey for 54 million, and it went horribly wrong. Gave him the excuse not to start buying. You look at the top six. I'm not saying they're all successful by any means, but the point I'm going to make now in terms of the transfer fees is I'm just focusing on the other big five clubs' ambition. Chelsea, Caicedo, 115. Arsenal, Rice, 105. City, Grealish, 100. United, Anthony, 85. Liverpool, Nunes, 85. Tottenham, I think Solanke is now, I think that was 57, or 55 before add-ons.
Isn't he a club record, Solanke?
I think so. I mean, I think, Richarlison was under 50 before add-ons. So, I mean, I don't know where this 60 million they keep chucking at him comes from. It's nonsense. That's with add-ons. We don't pay anybody add-ons. We never win anything.
I know. But this is what we've been complaining about, Ian. And I
worked out before from Romero to Johnson. I think I worked out approximately 495 million was spent, and the average spend per player was 27 million. Now, I'm not saying go and spend 100 million on a player, but look at what Arsenal did with Rice. They knew what they were getting. They're going to get 8, 9 out of 10 every single week. So for them, he was worth it. He's worth the money. Because you can, you saw what we did with the Bale money, and they spent 7. They had the Bale money plus Calderwood plus 1 or 2 others. They had 108 million. They spent it on 7 players, and I think only Ericsson. Forget Lamela, he was always injured. Ericsson was the only one out of the 7 that we saw. That was you could tangibly call a success, some sort of success. We just waste players because it's always about the deal. It's always about buying players at the wrong price. Instead of saying, you go back to the early days when City was taken over by the Qataris. They went and paid 39 million for Carlos Tevez. Was it Tevez?
They got like Robinho as well.
Yeah, that wasn't such a great buy, but I think Tevez at 39 million, he was established. They knew what they were getting with him, and they bought him. And that's if you buy these players, but you pay top money. One of my biggest bugbears here at this club is that we are charged the highest prices.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I was told Europe. Someone else said to me it's worldwide. People turn around and say, well, Arsenal and Chelsea fans pay more for their season ticket. I'm not talking corporate, I'm talking season tickets. But Arsenal and Chelsea don't get 19, they get more. They get more games. So you average it out, and we are paying higher.
Ian, can I add? I want to say something here, right? I'm not defending Levy. I want him out of the club. I don't like him at all.
Yeah.
But I'm just a bit of devil's advocate here. If the owners and the board of directors have ascertained that they can charge the highest prices and people will pay it and they will pack out that stadium, why shouldn't they do it? Forget the morals and the ethical standpoint of abusing fan loyalty. But from a business perspective, if they can charge you 75 quid a game, right, and you're going to pay it, why wouldn't they do it?
Yeah, but still, so let me just interject.
I'm totally against what they do. I hate what they do.
There's a lot of big companies, right? Multi-billion-pound companies, right?
Yeah.
That do charge a premium for their product or service, but they do recognise as an organisation that they have to have a good value proposition to maintain where they are in the marketplace.
Yeah.
What I find criminal with Spurs is that they just don't care, full stop.
Yeah.
And their hierarchy doesn't care, right, about where they care about them being perceived as a great product and service.
Because they know we will pay.
And so it's almost sinister, right? Whereas a lot of other organisations that they do have a bit of pride about what they're offering their customers and the value proposition that they're offering them.
Like Fulham. Fulham charge the
£3
most.
grand.
Huh?
£3 grand for that stand. £3 grand.
Oh, for yours? For yours?
No,
For
for
Spurs
Fulham.
or
For Fulham.
Oh,
for
Fulham.
the new
Yeah,
stand.
so-
They just built a brand new stand.
Yeah. So they can charge $3 grand for that for season tickets, and so of course Spurs are going to be able to, because Spurs is more obviously you're of a higher caliber than Fulham.
Fulham's one of the richest areas in the UK.
That also. Oh,
The
and
thing
Spurs
is,
aren't.
back to more football, right? And more
Tottenham's
basics.
like Detroit.
But back to more football and more basic
It really
stuff,
is.
right? Rather
It
than
really
us
is.
going down a rabbit hole of talking financials, right? Just more basic stuff. Buying £40 million Gray, right? Look, and I'm not, I hope that he's going to be a fantastic player for us in the future, and one we'll grow to love, right? And Odobert, and I'm not impressed with Odobert at all. I think he's going to be in Kudu Mark II, but that cannot be sound business. And then it calls into question: does Ange really want to win? Because that they're not players you sign to challenge top four and win cups and push on. That they really aren't. And I know, Ian, I've heard your opinions on other channels on that, but I just can't. This whole window doesn't strike me as taking a step forward to improve us. If there is an improvement, it's so marginal. Whereas the other clubs have made big strides in improving their squads. West Ham, I think Liverpool have strengthened cleverly. Dare I say it, Man United, although we'll see as the season goes on whether, what they do.
Maz, can I ask you a question?
Villa have strengthened.
No, wait, guys, I want to ask a question, right? Any top manager will look at Odobert, Johnson, Kulu. Look, if I can bring up basic stats and their performance against the top 10, are you telling me they haven't got better stats than me? Of course they have, right? So when they look at this data, no other top manager in their right mind who wants to win the league would accept these players and say, yeah, I can win the league with them. When they see what the competition's got, when they see Saka's, the Odegaards and the Declan Rices, even the entire Man City squad, Liverpool's front six. Okay, there's no manager in their right mind at high level who will accept these players. So the reason I'm saying this is because Ange must know he's not winning a league with these players. So unless there's some big transfer coming next year, and Ange is going to stay until then, regardless of results this year, which I don't think is the case. I don't think he will just accept these players like that. Is Ange here just for a payday then? Because this is what Conte was accused of. Is Ange just here because this is the biggest paid job he's ever had, and as long as he toes the corporate line, regardless of results, he's going to get paid?
Probably.
Or am I looking too deep into it?
I think you're right. I think you're right still. I think, you look at the comments that he has come out with, and he's toeing the party line. He's looking after his job.
So he's here for a payday?
Probably, yeah.
Well, he's got an opportunity after being successful in 3 countries. He's 58, so he's only got a limited shelf life because of his age. And he's looking at it thinking, this is the biggest job I'm ever gonna have. I'm gonna look after it. I'm gonna protect it. And if it means, I'm not gonna turn around and say, I've got some great kids for the future, but I only got Solanke, what are the owners doing? He's hardly going to say that, is he? You saw what happened to Conte. I mean, what Conte said. Conte didn't come for payday. Conte, with that ego, Conte came to win. And you saw that.
But he also came for £20 million a year as well, though. I mean, he wouldn't have come here to win at 10 million.
Well, you wouldn't do it.
But he was desperate to win. We're the only club he's ever been at where he hasn't won a trophy.
Matt, what do you think about this? Is Ange here for a payday? It's the biggest payday.
I will answer, but I think Lee wanted to say something. Lee, did you want to say something first? And I'll jump in after.
Lee's
No.
thinking of something to say now.
I had, but it was something to do with. It was to do with before that. I was just gonna jump in and say, when Maz was talking about the deals happening at Spurs, here's a deal for you. Don't buy Gray. Don't reloan Werner. Slap £60 million on Eze. Pay him. What was he on? 80 something at Crystal Palace. Slap £130,000 a week on him. Yeah, or 100 grand. Give him a 30 grand pay rise, a week pay rise. That's not done anything to what you've already spent this season.
It's rudimentary. It's rudimentary maths. You know,
it works the same way. You don't do it. But anyway,
he didn't want him.
Who did?
The guy's still at Palace. There's a relook. The paper said it's been clearly put in all the press. The guy had a £60 million release clause. You go in, you pay the money, you get your
said
player.
you didn't want him. Ange did not want him.
Well, he'd be at Spurs if Ange wanted him, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and this is why
if that's the case, then I'm sorry, but this guy hasn't got a clue.
Yeah, he hasn't got a clue. He signed 16 players, Lee. All right, and how many of them have been successful? Vicario, Van der Ven. So 2 out of 16. Wow, what a record that is! I mean, let's be honest, that is shocking.
My still honest opinion of Ange is the year for a payday. I don't. The way that the Aussies paint him and the guys at Celtic paint him, you wouldn't expect that to be the case. What I do think is
he never got paid.
I don't think. No, he didn't. He didn't. But I don't think he's got the backbone that a lot of people make him out to have had before. Because if you watch the Celtic documentary, those guys basically said he came in and we gave him whatever he wanted. I think he's now to win the league, and he did it. Yeah. I don't think we have got that system or hierarchy at Spurs where you get a manager to come in and go, "What do you want? You tell me what you want." No, that's not how it works at Spurs. You come in, we tell you what we're going to give you, you make it work. That's it. And he's very quickly worked that out. And that's why his demeanour of what comments he said at the beginning and comments that he makes now are completely contradictive of the way.
Lee, you're spot on. Mun gives him a budget, and so that's the budget. That's how it works.
Yeah. And this whole FFP King thing as well was
it's no different
by the media. It was an absolute myth.
Yeah, that's right. It's no different in other clubs, but other clubs are ambitious and want to win trophies.
I wonder
our owners want to win profits.
Yeah, we that's obvious, and then the history has proven it. We've been going for 2 hours, right? Before we wrap it up, there's one more thing I wanted to ask everyone, and we'll end it on this note, and it ties up with Faz's super chat. Thank you, Faz. Big up panel. Are we not judging Ange too soon? So, based on the start, based on the fans' moods, up and down, positive, not so positive, and the games we've got coming up, Arsenal at home, Brentford at home, United away, Brighton away, West Ham away, a Carabao Cup game thrown in there, a couple of European games thrown in there. It's going to have to rotate the squad. We've got a big couple of 7-8 games coming up. The start was Newcastle, where we played well, but we flattered to deceive and we lost. What do you see happening now? And is Ange going to last till Christmas? What's your thinking, Matt?
That question, I personally think it's a little bit early to be writing his death certificate for me. I still want Ange to get more time, get a few more transfer windows. I can't forget how bad we were, that Conte, Southampton, and the aftermath of that, Stellini and Mason. We were an absolute mess. And you could probably say at the time our two most important players, because Son had a bad season that year, was Romero and Kane. Kane wanted to leave and so did Romero. So I can't forget how bad things were and how things needed to be changed. And I watched a lot of shows and a lot of YouTubers were saying we need to strip this house. We need to go to the bare bones. We need to start again. A lot of podcasters were saying that we need to start again. Now, Ange has come in. We don't know. I think a lot of people here know that they don't think he's the guy. I'm not sure if he's the guy. I'm not at all going to profess that he's the guy, but let's give him, he's had 3 transfer windows. Let's give him a little, sorry, I'm going to rephrase that. Everybody can think what they think. I'm prepared to give him a little bit more time to try and implement what he's trying to do. And there's going to be some bumps in the roads. There's some risk and there's some rewards. I'm not sure on the pendulum which one's going to come out on top. I think in the chat and a lot of people saying it's going to be failure, but I'm optimistic, that hoping and praying that with a few more transfer windows, and he learns, and he's got to learn that this is the hardest, fastest, financially most powerful league in the world, and his style, his ethos and his tactics need to be adapted to the opponent that he's playing. I just don't think this you score, we score philosophy is going to work in 38 games in a season, because we don't buy the best players. At Celtic in Japan, he predominantly had the best picks when he was drafting his players. That's not the case at Tottenham. So he's got to work with the second tier or the third tier players playing this high risk, high octane football. And it's going to leave us susceptible to teams with better players and better managers.
So
However,
Matt,
I
what do you
still
think is going to
think
happen next 8 games? Where do you see this heading? Is he going to survive till Christmas?
we're gonna cop some. We're gonna cop some. I think we're gonna get beat by Arsenal. Alex, box office. He asked the question towards the end of last season, or maybe the start of this season. He said, if Tottenham finish 8th, are the board and are the fans going to stick with Ange?
No.
And that, for me, is one of the best questions. That's one of the best questions anybody's ever asked. Not just the board, are the fans going to stick with this guy? Or are we going to say, get rid? He's the only manager since 2019 that started a Premier League season and finished one. That's how much we have been in a mess for 5 years. Think about it. Think about it. Jose.
Because he's cheap.
Nuno.
Matt.
Conte.
Because he's cheap.
They've
Matt.
not
Come
started
on.
and finished. What? Okay, that's secondary. What I'm saying is, we've now got a manager that's now in his 2nd season. Are we generally thinking, let's get rid of him? Let's get rid of him now. Let's pick somebody else.
Well, if he's not good enough,
let's get rid of him as well.
Matt, if he's not good enough, right? Let's just say he's not.
We don't know. That's what I'm saying. We don't know.
I know we don't know, but if he's not good enough, we're going to keep him just for the sake of we can't keep changing managers.
There will certainly be a period, though. I don't know when that is, where the cutoff is, but I don't think it's yet. I don't think it's now. Still, where are Spurs? Let's look at it. Let's get this down.
I'm not saying get rid of him, Matt. I'm just. Matt, hold on.
But Matt, let me just jump off of the back of what you said. Still,
my question was, hold on. My question was, what do you think is going to happen the next 8 games, and do you think he'll still be here at Christmas? You haven't answered the question.
Yes, I do think he'll still be here. The next 8 games. I'll go as far as the next 8 games. I think he'll still be in charge of the next 8 games. We'll get beat by Arsenal. I think we've got Coventry in the FA Cup the next game after that. Is that right?
Coventry, yeah.
Got that right?
Carabao Cup. Then we've got Europa for the week after.
Yeah, I think we'll.
We got the schedule if you want.
I think we'll beat Coventry in the game after in the FA Cup. And I'm not sure who we've got in the Europa League, but we surely should have enough to beat them.
We've got Carabao.
I think we'll beat Brentford. I think we've got.
Then we've got Fenerbahce.
Okay, we should win that game.
We've basically got, in the space of 30 days, 8 games. So that's 2 games a week for 4 weeks in a row.
It's going to be a lot of late nights.
Good job. We got some squad depth in, haven't we?
It's a lot of emergency podcasts, man. That's
Matt, I just want to. You said something, and I really need to jump in here and rebuttal it. So sorry. We shouldn't keep a manager that one is clearly, for me, and I'll substantiate it when it's my turn, out of his depth. But the whole point, right, of us sacking Pochettino, one of the best managers we've had in the last 20 years, if not the best manager we've had in the last 20 years, right, was to step on as a club, take that next step. We had Jose. I don't think we should have got rid of Jose. We had Conte. I don't think we should have got rid of Conte. If we're not willing to get rid of Ange to try and reach the heights of Pochettino, right, then what are we doing? That's why I don't like it when we say, but I do also think we need to let this play out because the saga needs to naturally end. But that's all I'll say.
Listen, I don't know how this ends. I know some people think they do, but he has certainly changed how Tottenham play. Right or wrong, he's certainly changed how we play. Let's see how that plays out. Hopefully, he gets enough wins in between the defeats that we're going to get that he's still got the support of the ownership and the players. And then we get to January and he learns that players like Timo Werner and Brendan Johnson shouldn't be starting the majority of the games. And he improves in the transfer window. He's made mistakes in the transfer window. Why do you think that, though, man? Which manager hasn't?
We've just had a summer. We've just had a summer to do it, and we've not. Why do you think that Levy's going to now spend the money in January because he cocked it up in the summer? We've done it every year. I don't get it.
I don't.
Do you know? I'll shut up until.
I think it was intentional. No, I think it was intentional, Lee. I really do think it was intentional.
January is where every club grabs you by the nuts and pulls every last drop of money out of you because they know you're desperate. That is not that's not successful transfer window. It is a desperation window. I'm sorry.
I agree. I agree.
Look, Matt, and by the way, a lot of Spurs fans think that Ange will be here for the season, and Ange will get through this period coming up, right? So, Ian, what about you? By the way, Matt, there's a lot of people online that agree with what you say. I'll tell you now. Ian, what about you? The next 8 games, right? So we've got, in the space of 1 month, we've got Arsenal, Brentford, United, Brighton, West Ham in the league. We've got Coventry in the Carabao Cup, and then we've got Karabag and Ferencváros.
Ferencváros, Hungarian.
Okay. All right, let me be positive. Can you flick that back up, Still? Yeah. I'll just.
I want to know what you think. How you think we're going to fare next 8 games, and will Ange be manager? And will Ange be manager at Christmas?
Starting with Arsenal, lose, beat Coventry, beat Brentford, beat Karabag, United. Probably a high-scoring draw. They're both
draw. Yeah.
Ferencváros. I've got no idea what they're like, but I mean, I couldn't see us losing.
You're going to get
Brighton a defeat. West Ham, I'm hearing, are playing appallingly. 2 of my best friends are season ticket holders. They cannot also believe that Füllkrug, who looked fantastic for Germany, looks a complete loser in a West Ham shirt. They have absolutely slaughtered this centre forward to me. They have said he is hopeless. So it's interesting how fans see things. So do I think Ange will be here to the end of the season? The answer is yes, for the following reasons. As you said, Still, he has been backed more than any other manager in terms of pounds, shillings and pence. They need stability. The whole thing with the transfer strategy is they're bringing kids through. That's going to take another year, I would think. Top 4 through the Europa League. While we're still in the Europa League, we're still challenging for the Champions League. And the other question, and I know 1 or 2 of you guys have said to me, Gareth Southgate, who I can't see anyway. Where does Levy go if Ange doesn't work?
Out the front door.
We have had, including interims like David Pleat and Clive Allen and Alex Inglethorpe, we have had 20 different managerial tenures since Enoch came in 2001. I'm including Mason and Stellini in that as well from last year.
He'll go Ryan Mason and then he'll hire South.
No, he won't go right. Mason didn't do very well, did he, when Conte left? You know, between Conte and Stellini, we got 11 points.
Yes, man. He'll do his. Okay, so
we crashed from 4th to 8th. But the only caveat I will say that he won't last till the end of the season is if things go pear-shaped and the fans turn on Levy. Because what does Levy do every time the fans turn on him? Gets rid of the manager to deflect the pressure away from him. But I do see Ange staying to the end of the season. I think we have as good a chance as any. I think we're in the top 5 or 6 favourites for the Europa League. Maybe I'm deluded. I just think we have enough quality in the team. If we get the right draws and we turn it on at the right time, you know, there's no drop down from the Champions League, and he may just get it. And if he wins the Europa League, he'll find it hard to sack him. But I can't see him lasting. Not with this kamikaze system of playing. It's just not going to work.
So hold on, Ian. 1 minute, hold on, Steve. 1 second. So let me just get this right. You think he's going to get through the next 8 games, but you don't think he's going to last?
I don't think he'll last long term. I think,
but he'll last this season.
Past this season for the reasons that I've given. If we don't win the Europa League and get Champions League football, I can't see us in a million years. Cannot see us finishing top 4 this season. Anywhere, maybe 5th if we're lucky, maybe 8th or 9th. Who knows? Depending on injuries, suspensions, you know, whether we buy players in January. Who knows? Refereeing decisions. There's so many.
Jose got sacked for coming 7th. He'll get sacked if he comes 8th or 9th. He's gone. There's no way. Steve, what do you think of Spurs next 8 games? And also, do you think Ange will last the season? Do you think he'll be gone by Christmas?
I'll be real. I think you lose to Arsenal. Away to Coventry, I think you draw that game and lose on pens. I could totally see something like that. I think you'll scrape by Brentford, but you could definitely draw that game. Wissa and Mbeumo are in very, very good form. And overall, Brentford are actually in really good form. They're, I want to say like 7th or something. They've got 3 wins out of 4, 2 wins out of 3, whatever it is. So, Fenerbahce are an interesting team. Because they've actually had a lot of good European results lately, past few years in the Conference League and whatnot. That you could draw that, but I'll give you the win. I'll give you a narrow win there. Draw against Man United. You'll probably lose to Ferencváros. I'll be real. Because they're actually a pretty decent team. They drew with West Ham in preseason. I watch them every once in a while. They're pretty good. Brighton, I think that could be a loss, and I think West Ham could be like a draw. And in terms of Ange, no, I don't think he makes it out the season. I think he'll be sacked probably around, I don't know, January. I'd have to find a stretch of games where it's not looking good. But
do you know, most of your predictions when we do them, and I'm on the same show as you, turn out to be wrong. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. Hey, Spurs are a hard team to predict. I don't know, man. But
I don't think we lose to the Carabags and the Ferencváros. I think Roma and Galatasaray are the big problems for us, personally. But anyway, we'll come to me in a minute. All right, but you don't think Ange lost the season. Maz, what about you? Same question. Next 8 games, in terms of, do you think we navigate through it? And will Ange last?
I think that we'll get 4 points out of those games. And
the league games,
correct. Yeah, I don't have an opinion on the cup games. We should beat those teams, but it's Tottenham, so we never know. I think Brentford, we may get the win, and I've just got a funny feeling that we'll get a draw against either Brighton or West Ham. But yeah, 4 points max for me. No, I can't see Ange Postecoglou going past December, because his form, the team's form and his stats are so bad that if Daniel Levy gets a whiff that we won't qualify for the Champions League, it's actually quite cheap for him to get rid of Ange. And he may just do it and try and salvage the season. with another manager. If he does keep on with him, then there's going to be a lot of unhappy fans as the season goes on, and will the board want that if they're seeking investment? I don't know. I really don't. I really don't know. When you look at just all of the different aspects of what's happened since Ange has joined, he's contradicted himself a lot. We've not signed good players. Our form is really poor. The stats don't look good. The fan base is split.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, the fan base is split, and I think that's partly because of what Andrew said and the signings. I just don't think it looks good for Ange, and obviously I predicted this would happen really early on in his reign, so I'm just sticking by my guns on this.
Apparently, your form is just as bad under Ange as it was under Sherwood. I don't know Tim Sherwood, but as a man, I wasn't watching football at the time. I think I was like 7 years old or whatever.
Our form is shocking. Our form is shocking. There's no doubt about it. It dates back.
Now, what was Tim Sherwood like? Was it worse football, or what was the deal with him at Spurs? I don't know.
Sherwood was a mess. The whole thing was an absolute mess.
Oh, really?
Like it was when Nuno came in and Stellini. It's just. But Lee, I want to ask you, the next 8 games, how do you see us? Are we going to be all right? Are we in trouble? And will Ange last this season, or will he be fired, or will he walk? Will he even say, "Do you know what? Sod this"?
Well, good question. Listen, on the next games, lost to Arsenal, Coventry. We saw what they did to United last year. I think that if we are playing Arsenal and then 2 days later we've got Coventry, I think we'll put out the kids, and I think they'll have a good chance to beat us.
Yes.
I hate to say it, but I do. I see that's what we did last season. United, I don't know yet because we haven't really seen how well they're going to gel. They're pretty
terrible.
much.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about them.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. Brighton, I think we're going to lose, and I'm telling you now, I'll call this now, right? West Ham fans can say, yeah, West Ham shit. They've bought all these players, ain't doing anything. They'll turn up against us. They always do, in some way. They'll turn up against us.
I picked a draw.
And if they turn up against us and they want it, and our players are playing the way that I see them play the other day, and they're the emotion on the pitch and the way that they're sort of holding themselves, I can see them beating us. So, we'll just have to see how that goes. In terms of Ange, my opinion, he'll be here for the whole season. I don't think Levy will want to get rid of him. He won't want to get rid of the cheap option because he won't be able to go for another cheap option after this if it fails. And he won't want to spend the money. And the whole, let's see what happens to Ange in his second season. Listen, the guy said, I usually win things in my second season. Sorry, we ain't winning anything this season. The Europa thing is so disingenuous to say we're going to win the Europa League with all the other teams that are in it, where a lot of the teams are much better than us. They've got a much better squad than us. So I'm sorry, we ain't winning that.
Ian would disagree with you on this one.
Yeah, we're not winning that competition. And
I don't think you win Europa League either.
No. And
Man United won't either, by the way. They're hopeless.
No, I don't think they will either. No.
No, see, I think Ten Hag's the kind of bloke, if he's still somehow here, he'll win that to save himself again.
No. He'll win one of the domestic cups. The domestic cups.
He's done that. He'll win the Europa against all the odds to force himself in, piss off all the Man United fans who want him out, and he's got them back into Champions League because that's what Europa Cup does.
They are not winning Europa.
He's exactly the kind of man. We said the same about the FA Cup. They won't beat Man City. No way they beat Liverpool. They beat them both. They beat them both.
I think they'll win one of the FA or Carabao Cup. I don't think he's capable of tactically dealing with Europeans.
I would not be surprised.
Look at last year's group stage.
Look
at last year's group stage with Man United. Lost to FC Copenhagen away. They lost to Galatasaray at Old Trafford and drew with them away, and then lost to Bayern twice. He's not a good European manager.
Just to finish what I was saying.
Really? He got Ajax to the semi-final of the Champions League.
How many years ago was that?
Yeah, but so we just dismiss it. We just dismiss it.
I'm
dismissing the Champions Leagues and league titles that Mourinho won. We just dismiss it.
No, because Mourinho hasn't done that since then. That's why it's in the past. That's why
Ten Hag's won 2 trophies in 2 years, Steve.
Mourinho won the European Super, whatever it's called, the little Conference League, whatever it is, with Roma,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
That's why I would take Mourinho at Newcastle because I still think he's a good manager.
I'd love Mourinho to come back to the Premier League. I think
Same.
can I give my predictions quickly?
Lee. Go on.
Lee
Can I
hasn't
finish what
finished
I'm
his, by the way.
Sorry, Lee.
My bad.
I forget Lee. Don't worry about
No,
Lee.
yeah, no, balls to me. I wasn't here for 2 weeks, part timer. Anyway,
You got to get. You need to win our
I don't
respect,
think-
Lee. You need to win our
no,
respect.
I know. You didn't even fly over to see me, you shitbag. Anyway, so listen, I think Ange will stay for the year, right? I don't think he'll be sacked, and I don't think he'll walk because based on this summer transfer window, he's accepting of what he's been given, right? I can't believe that he thinks that he's going to win something in the second season with the players that he's brought in, if they are what he wanted, and he's just accepting. So I don't think he'll walk, but I don't think he'll be sacked. And the problem is with me is that we've already seen him. We've now 41 games in pre-season, right? Nothing is showing me in any way, shape or form that he's willing to change or he has changed in any way. And our form has not changed in the first 3 games. It's not on an upward trajectory. And therefore, I think the delusion is setting in. Within the club and within him. I think this is it now. We're just accepting that he is what we've got for the next year. And a lot of people are just accepting the results as they come because we're playing lovely football, which I still don't see when you don't have a clear-cut chance against the Newcastle when you batter them 66%. But there you go. Whatever floats your boat.
I think
Oh, my bad.
Arsenal, I think we're going to actually dominate that game and be the better team, but lose by 1 goal. Coventry, I'm the same with Maz. I can't call these cup games. I've got no idea. Brentford, I think we draw. Man United, we draw. Brighton, we lose. West Ham, we win. I think I did say 6 or 7 points is what we'll get from all these games. So I'm going to stick to that. I personally think this is what's going to happen with Ange. He's not going to be here long term. He won't, because the players he has signed are going to let him down because they're not good enough for what he wants to do. I think most of the forwards, except for Solanke, who I'll wait and see, but pretty much all the forwards he signed are shit. Sava, when I say dominate, I mean we'll have more possession in the game, and we'll actually, I think we'll have them push back for periods of the game. But I just think they're going to outdo us because they've got better players. I do. I've just got this feeling, this North London derby, without Declan Rice, Spurs will have a foot in the game. Mind you, if Van der Ven's out, forget everything I've said. If he's out, the whole thing collapses. But I think Ange, he won't be here long term because his signings are so delusional for the football he wants to play. I just don't understand how he's accepted this. However, he will get sacked this season by Christmas if he doesn't fix this highline bullshit.
He won't.
If we continue, well, listen, if he doesn't, he will be gone because I think fans are getting more pissed off with a repetition of the same goals we concede and that not being addressed than anything else. I don't think losing to Newcastle hurt us as a fan base. I don't think that really upset us. It's the goal that won it that fucked us off.
Absolutely. The
I
same
think
thing
that
happening every time.
Yeah.
It's just draining.
And I think that's what's really pissing fans off now. And you saw this image, right? This image, and these images got used more than any other bloody images on all the YouTube channels and all the social medias because it's the same error. If he doesn't fix that, then he's gone for me by Christmas. He won't survive. It'll cost him. Fans will just turn on him.
What game do you think he gets? What game do you think?
I've got no idea, Steve.
Early Christmas present, Steve.
Could it be Galatasaray away November 7th?
Whichever game we concede the most goals doing that, that'll be the one.
You go away to Man City November 23rd.
Well, if we concede 4 goals doing that, he's gone. But if he does tweak it, if he does adjust it, I think he stays here for the full season. I think he survives it. No problem.
And if he does do that, and we start
Fair
playing
play to
better, and he fixes it, then fair play. We'll all be happy, surely.
I'll be happier, but I do get wound up when Timo Werner comes on the pitch. I just start shaking. I like.
And when he got subbed on yesterday, I honest to God, I didn't even notice, guys. I didn't even notice he got subbed on.
He came on at 1-1 to change the game, and we lost 2-1.
Yeah. I actually had
Well, he
one
did change the game. We lost.
For them.
I actually had a question for you guys about, because for me, the Odobert signing, I get why people, because you said that you're looking to win. Well, not you're looking, but apparently Ange is looking to win the league. Could I ask you guys, what's the difference between us buying Anthony Gordon at the time, a relegation club winger? Obviously, Everton didn't get relegated, but they weren't good. They've been terrible for years. We bought Gordon for more money. You bought Odobert from Burnley. What's the difference between those two deals for you?
Talent.
You think Gordon's way more talented than Odobert?
Well, I wanted Maddison and Gordon. I thought that fixed a lot of problems for us if they bought them as a pair. And I genuinely thought that was going to happen at the time, but it didn't. How old is Gordon? I forget his age.
Gordon is 22, 23.
Yeah, so similar ages-ish.
That's why I asked about, because for me, when we bought Gordon, I didn't want him at all. I thought he was, I was not impressed at Everton. I got it wrong. Very, very wrong.
I saw a lot more of Gordon
impressed.
than, I didn't even know who Odobert was. I think I've seen him once and he didn't, at the game I saw him, he didn't come across as.
The problem with Odobert, right, is the first game that he played, I thought he was a breath of fresh air. And I'll tell you why. Because he's straight away, he's a player, when he gets the ball at his feet, he tries to take on a player, right? And that's what we've been screaming for. We've been screaming, get someone that can take him on.
That's what Gordon does.
But the problem is that the following games, he's shown us he can do that, but he has no end product. So what's the point of doing that if you're only going to produce nothing at the end of it? That's the issue with him. So he's got to step that part of it up.
I need to crush this. I need to crush this. You know, you
but
said,
Odobert didn't. I didn't see him do anything substantial in that Newcastle game apart from miss a chance. I didn't see him like absolutely roast the man.
Maz, the other thing also is that for me,
he can though.
We bought 4 kids. The Korean. I hear from people I work with in South Korea that this kid is going to be amazing in years to come. Everybody has said the same thing. Bergvall, I think, is going to be superb. I know there are 1 or 2 people that I've seen some of the comments who are slagging off, wasting money. Archie Gray, he will be superb. He will be in our midfield, I think, established by the end of the season. I don't see we've got any other midfield players who are that good. That our midfield is weak. The one that I'm mystified about is Odobert, because he's not ready. We can see he's not ready. If he's got potential, fantastic. But to go and spend the best part of 30 million, why not? For me, we're a year away probably from Mikey Moore. So bring Mikey Moore through. Why spend the money on Odobert? I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Lee, I need to debunk this, right? You know when fans say Odobert tries to dribble, he tries to take on the man. For me, maybe I'm being a bit harsh. I don't care what he tries. I care what he does. So against Everton, he attempted 6 dribbles, 2 were successful. So that's a success rate of 33%. That puts him below the top 20 dribblers on the weekend of that Everton game. Against Newcastle, he attempted 3 dribbles, 1 successful. 33% again. He's not.
But at least dribbler. He tried. Yeah, that's my point.
But so we're praising trying. He tried.
He's only 18, isn't he? He's 18, 19. Give him a chance. But it's a different. It's a different.
No. I never said that.
I'm not. Listen, I didn't say that he's going to be generational. I didn't say he's great. All I said was he tried something different.
Yeah, but it's 30 million quid.
One minute. Ange tries to be a manager. If he doesn't win anything, we're going to praise it because he tried.
No, I'm not praising him. I just said he did something different. I didn't praise him. I just said he did something different than when I watched Johnson and Werner play. Because we're too predictable. At least he's doing.
Werner tries to take on players. 1 minute, Werner has got a better dribbling. Werner tries to dribble. He's got better.
When I see Werner, all right, maybe data, whatever. But when I watch Werner play, all I see him do is get the ball or never get past him and then pass it backwards. I don't see him trying. I saw him once yesterday where he took on a player and he actually got past him and that was it.
quick question first. What was the player that Ange said that they didn't want to sign or bring in because it was going to block the path for the youth players?
Vuskovic, the Croatian, isn't it? Vuskovic?
Yeah.
What's his
It
name?
wasn't a name,
Ian
it was just
Russell.
a defender.
Right. So signing Odobert, surely that's blocking the path for Moore or Divine coming into the team.
I said that
Why
when
the
they
hell?
signed Odobert.
Why
I
the
said that
hell
when
would
they
we
signed
do that? And those
Don't
two players are
understand.
really promising.
I don't get
nuts.
it. Do you know what?
Absolutely
Do you know what's even more
No,
frustrating?
KM Hong. Werner's dribbling stats are actually not bad. So he's a terrible player in front of goal, shooting big chances, shooting accuracy, dribbling stats. He's not great. He's better than Odobert. I looked into it. He's actually better than Odobert.
That's
So,
crazy.
Maz, to your
I
point,
know it's crazy, Steve. but-
this is exactly what I don't get about Mikey Moore. Right, we've all been praising him through the summer. He is definitely a talent. You bring in Solanke, who obviously is injured at the moment, but you think that the way this works is as Solanke goes up front, Son goes back to the left. Mikey Moore then becomes Son's understudy on the left-hand side, right? Because that's his natural position where he gets played most is on the left, right? You've got Son there, a seasoned veteran. You've got Mikey Moore trying to get in, biting, and then you buy a guy to play in the same position. It makes no sense. The mind, but and you've got Werner there as well, taking £165,000 a week wages on the bench. I don't get it. I don't get it.
And Ange just signed off on all of this.
Do you know what's just really pissing me off with the whole youth project bullshit, right? It's not that they're all on the bench or they've gone on loan. The most promising one who actually really caught our imagination as fans was Mikey Moore. And he doesn't even fucking make the bench, man. If there's one kid that really we thought, you know what, this looks like a player here, it was him.
He's a player. He's a player.
And we're 3-0 up against the worst Everton team I've ever seen come to Spurs. There's 25 minutes to go. Is that not the perfect... The game's done. Everton aren't coming back.
He's not on the bench. Still, he wasn't on the bench, I don't think.
I know. Ian, that's what I'm saying. We don't even put him on the bench.
He's not even on the bench.
But is it true? Is there any truth behind what I heard is that he had obliged to play a couple of the games for under 21s? Was there any truth to that? And that's why he wasn't in the squad?
I think the problem you've got...
What's more important for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, the first team or the under 21s?
Well, that's why I'm confused as to why someone would even say it in the first place.
Lee,
if he's
they just make excuses to justify what Ange does and what this club does.
I don't get it then. So he's either going to play him or not.
Lee, look at Ange's record for playing kids.
I know, Lee, I'm with you. I agree with you.
Which is why just sticking Odobert in for 2 games is so out of character for him. You know, you look at game management. Lo Celso against West Ham and Villa at home last season. We're 2-1 down at home. You got Donnelly on the bench, who's a tremendous prospect, lovely footballer, and he put Skip on instead. You know, we lose Romero and Van der Ven against Chelsea at home, and he puts Dyer in instead of Phillips. You know, it just goes on and on. So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised he's not playing the kids. You know, he is risk averse when it comes to, apart from Odobert, 2 games.
But Ian, his decision making, right? His talent ID, the acquisitions he's making, the decisions he's making on the pitch, just doesn't make sense. I think this is why we're also split on Ange, right? It's if he was doing predictable things, then we can digest it and analyze it. But the things he's doing is just not making sense.
Klopp and Pep didn't have any issues chucking those youngsters in the teams when he needed it.
I was just about to say.
But you know what? He is making the decisions on the players, Ange. They are his final decisions. He's turning down players, and he's bringing players in. He demanded Brendan Johnson last year. Levy wanted to back it. Levy wanted to back it. He ended up paying 12 million more than what Brentford were going to pay for Johnson earlier in the season before the end of the FFP period. Brentford agreed 35 million.
Out of Ange's own mouth, his own words were, he never expected Johnson to start in the first team. That's his own words. 50 million, and that's what you come out and say.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's ridiculous.
To us. I'm sorry,
That's
it's stupid.
crazy.
He I don't think it was his player in any way, shape, or form. That's what I'm saying. He's now just a yes man, basically. He's not getting his own way. He's not in control of anything.
He's the biggest yes man I think we've ever had, Ian. And you know, I know you try and be optimistic and you have quite a reasoned view on things, but I can't back a man that's so in step with Daniel Levy in the way that the club's run. This is why I like Jose and Conte, not because their football was, you know, absolutely amazing or anything like that. It's because there was a chance that they could persuade Levy to do things differently because they're winners, and we just didn't take that opportunity.
Sorry, Steve, I pushed the wrong button. I was listening to you, Maz. I think Ange is the biggest yes man we've seen as well. But the thing is, I like Ange. I actually really, really like him. But I cannot tolerate this high line every game.
I don't understand why you say that still.
Yeah, why? Why do you
what do you like? His lies? I love his lies. I love a liar.
Do you know when you just know there's just a good bloke? There's just a good bloke in there, and he genuinely has a lot of love for the sport and the industry, and he just cares about the game. But
yeah, we all
do. You love Ryan Mason then as well?
Yeah.
Hey, do you love Ryan Mason?
Ryan Mason's
a good guy.
At least Ange has done something in his life, right? In terms of winning as a player, winning as a coach. You can say, do you know what? Fair play. You're not a loser. What's Ryan Mason ever done?
Look, we've had lots of good guys manage Spurs. We've had lots of good guys manage Spurs.
Steve, I respect him for what he's done in his life in the sport. And I like the way he comes across. I don't hate Ange. Far from it. I like him. But I cannot sit here and say that the signings he's accepting is okay and this high line is okay. I'm totally against. Dude, as soon as we signed Werner, I blew up the internet. I blew it up. Right? I set my stall out as soon as that happened. I haven't budged from that position. And every signing we've made since has just been these kids are so great, they're on the bench. And I'm watching Basuma lose control of the game, Pape Sarr running around like a headless chicken, Kulusevski out of his depth against a top 10 team, Johnson smashing the ball over the crossbar, 40 yards over the bar from 12 yards out, Odobert missing headers, but Gray and Bergvall and all these magnificent kids are on the bench. I can't sit there and say this is okay. This makes sense. So he's got to change it for me. If he doesn't change, I think the fans are going to turn against him. I'm telling you, I think the fans are going to turn against him if he doesn't change it.
He won't change it, though, right? Does anyone here think Ange is going to change things up?
Well, then Solanke coming back better save his ass and put the ball in the back of the net, and we win the games by 1 goal or something.
That's why you bought him.
Well, let's see. I think there's so much pressure on Solanke now. The whole pressure of our club is going to be on Solanke's shoulders to convert these tap-ins. Yeah. If he doesn't, because he missed 2 easy chances against Leicester.
Really? What were I remember what
he missed a header from 6 yards out,
and
a shot from about 12 yards out, didn't he?
Oh, okay. I must have. Yeah.
Anyway, listen. Final words, and we'll wrap it up. We've been going for almost 3 hours. Blimey, what a long show! We've had over 550, 600 people watching the whole show. Thank you so much, everyone. Please make sure you smash the like button before you leave us. Matt, final words, and then we'll call it a night. Thanks for coming on the show, by the way, Matt. You stuck to your word, man. You said you'd come on this show, so well done.
Yeah, listen, thanks for the invite. There's a lot of passionate fans in the chat and stuff like that, and everybody has the gift to have an opinion, and I'm sensing there's more Ange out than Ange in. And I want to ask just a cheeky question to the panel. Stell, are you at the moment Ange out or Ange in?
I'm Ange change or I'm Ange out by Christmas.
That's not an answer.
It is. I'm Ange
but
in,
as of today, I need.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence,
Okay.
man.
At the moment, you're Ange.
I'm genuinely on the fence.
Sell the
I'm on
fence
fence.
sitter. All right, cool. Sell
I'm on
the
the
fence sitter.
Okay. So you're on the fence. Ian?
I don't see it, to be honest. I think you hit the nail on the head, Matt, earlier in the evening when you said that he had all the best players in Scotland, and if you've got all the best players, you can play that system and get away with it and win because the players will carry you through. And I think he's been very naive with the Premier League. I think bordering on possible disrespect to the abilities of the other coaches and the clubs. We had a great run at the start. The other teams have worked this out. Don't see him lasting. Like to see him be successful. I think everybody's fed up. As I said, 20 different tenures in 23 years. I mean, how on earth are you going to build success without stability? You know, Klopp, 9 years. Pep, 9 years. Arteta, 5 years. You even look back, Fergie and Wenger were the two most successful managers through the 90s and noughties. And look how long they were managers. Now, I'm not saying that managers are going to last now as long as those two, but you can't go on sacking managers every 18 months and new managers coming in and having 3 or 4 different manager sets of players who play to different systems and they've got different abilities and expect it to work. But overall, until we get new owners that want success, this is the merry-go-round.
But these players can't play his system.
No, they can't. Yeah. They can't. These boys are more suited to Conte's system. Got to just say one thing still. I did say to you earlier regarding the Europa League. I think we are one of 5 or 6 teams that are in the mix that could win it. I didn't say we would win it. I'd love us to win it. We haven't won a trophy in Europe since '84. But
yeah. So hold on. Are you Ange in, Ange out, or Ange
out.
fence?
Out.
You're Ange out. Steve, what do you think we should be?
He's not good enough. You should be looking for a new manager.
Maz?
Simple as that.
I agree with Ian's sentiment that you can't build a successful team without having stability. The problem is the managers that we should have backed regardless of their results was Pochettino, Jose and Conte, but we didn't. So I think we've got no choice but to be Ange out because we need to try and get the manager that has the quality, that has the tactical nous, that can identify the good players, like we have done in the past. So I'm Ange out.
The guy I will go for is Amarim. I think you do brilliantly at Spurs.
Do you know what? We say this about every manager, and they come here and it all goes tits up.
Yeah, no, but I mean, he's been successful with Sporting Lisbon, hasn't he? You know, the guy's a winner.
Conte was a winner everywhere. Mourinho was a winner everywhere. We'll find a way to break him. Don't worry, we'll do it.
I'm sure we will.
You know who your next manager could be? Because I think this is the last year. Eddie Howe. I think Eddie Howe will probably get sacked.
I don't want to do it.
It was interesting.
You don't want? Why not? Why not?
Because he's not better than Conte Mourinho. He's not better than Conte Mourinho. It's a downgrade.
Steve, it was interesting, Steve, because I had a chat with a friend of mine in Newcastle on Wednesday, Thursday, and he said to me, it's not a happy camp.
Yes.
He feels marginalised. Eels and Mitchell working together. Howe feels marginalised. And all of this came out in Craig Hope's expose in the Daily Mail, didn't it?
Yep.
Everything he told me 2 days later was in the newspaper, which is why I actually thought that we might have a chance of getting a point. But,
can I say something? We're saying who would be the next manager. By the way, Lee, we are going to get your opinion as well on Ange now. We're saying who would be the next manager. Who would want to be the next manager?
That's the problem.
Really,
a manager who wants to get a payday.
Fucking hell, Lee. In, out, fence.
I'm with you at the moment. I really am on the fence. I can't believe after 41 games,
sit on the fence,
that a manager can be this naive unless they are literally just out of their depth. I'll give them another 5 games, and then I'll say if it doesn't change, then he's not learning. And once you're 8 games in, you're if you're dropping points, then forget about it. Really. You're not making that up.
People, make sure you subscribe to Steve's channel. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Lee, Maz, Matthew, Ian. Good show tonight, guys. Thanks for being a part of it as always.
Lovely, thanks, Phil. Enjoyed it.
Great to have Ian on and Steve. And that fraud Matt, who, just about showed his face. Now everything's going bad,
Steve, can you change your name to Dragsborg, Steve?
To what?
To Dragsborg, Steve, because apparently you look like Dragusin.
Oh yeah, Dragos. Yeah.
Dragusin's younger brother.
Yeah.
Listen, on the 23rd of September is the fan forum. Do you think it'll be like this again?
Simple. We've got our Tottenham back. That's.
I don't think so.
No. You know what he'll say? Come on, you Spurs.
Daniel Coys.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, thanks for watching tonight. God bless you all. We'll be back, I believe, on Wednesday. Got a fan call-in show, and then there's no post-match show this weekend because it's international break. And then next Monday we'll be back. So Mari might do a show on Thursday, I think. But if not, check
another
us
2 weeks
out.
without football still. Jesus Christ.
Do we have to come back on Monday when we've not played? I can't take this anymore.
We'll just do a preview show. Well, no, we have to. It's the North London Derby build-up.
We do.
We have to.
Yeah.
I bet you guys are looking forward to that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we love it, Steve. Yeah.
I think do you know what? The one thing I'll say about Spurs this season, and I'm going to give Ange and the boys credit. We are, I think, more pinning teams back, and we are causing teams problems. We are.
Stel, you've lost your mind. It's fucking Leicester and Everton, for crying out loud.
We did it to Newcastle 60 minutes.
Newcastle didn't have a back four. They've got like 88 injuries, or however many injuries they've got at the moment.
No, it's Spurs. They were missing two main first teamers, the two centre backs.
We dominated that midfield as well.
We're missing Fabian Schär and Sven Botman. Yeah.
And that was it, wasn't it?
Our centre backs were Dan Burn and Emil Kraft.
It doesn't.
You've got more injuries than that, though. Sure, I thought you had a lot of injuries.
No Callum Wilson, no Lewis Miley. Callum Wilson, Lewis Miley.
Steve, I don't care who you had, who didn't have. I don't care who Everton had or didn't have. All I'm saying is, in the first 3 games, we are better at pinning teams in and keeping them there. Now, what we do with the ball is different to pinning them in. And the defensive issues, that hasn't gone away.
Is Basuma back still? Is Basuma back to his good old self? Is he on form?
No, he's not. Okay. But regardless,
Sunday,
I do think we're going to have a significant period of the game against Arsenal where we do pin them in. We are going to have plenty of possession. Do I think we're going to have what it takes to convert that into a winning game? No, I think we lose to Arsenal. I think they will catch us. And they won't care. They won't care if we have more possession because they want the points and they'll get the points. That's what I think will happen on the day.
I think you smoke too much Texas Babbage, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I agree.
However.
We won't listen. We won't have Davis. We won't have Davis Martin Saka, will we?
Yeah, we will. Ian. You've called it.
Don't say that.
That's it. It's gonna happen.
And if Dragusin plays, we might win a high ball from a corner.
Listen, I went on 2 Geordie podcasts this week and I told them all, you're not going to batter us. It's not going to be a 3-4-0 like you lot think. And I think we're going to come to St. James's and we're going to give you a game. And I was right. And I'm telling you,
we're right.
And I'm telling you, we are
We're not Arsenal, though.
No, we are going to give them a game at our ground. Watch. We'll get fired up, but we'll fuck it up. We will fuck it up. I know we will. So.
Yeah. Anyway, let's end the show. Come on.
I tried to be positive. I tried to give some kind of energy, and I get.
Didn't let you.
Yeah.
But we lost, though. I know, and I've just said we will lose to Arsenal. I've said we're going to lose. Do you know what? I wish I never spoke. Guys, thanks for watching the show. Come on, you Spurs.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.